Hey guys, it's Christina. This is Vox and Guest, and I'm joined by a distinguished panel of gentlemen today. Look at this, the professionalism, the couture, the beard hair, the head hair, the I'm not going to ask wherever else there might be hair, but it's there, I'm sure. Look at this. This is first aid spray. How the hell are you guys doing? Look at them.
We're doing super good. We are so happy to be here.
Definitely
so
happy
pretty.
to be here.
So pretty. I'm happy that you are here. I'm happy all the three of you are here because I know that Adam and Andy, you guys are kind of the fresh faces of the band for the most part. But Justin, bringing the brain, the big brain. Check out the big brain on Justin. So I'm glad that the whole gang is here. So why don't you guys say, a quick hello, introduce yourselves, and then we'll get down to it.
I'll start. I'm Adam. I sing, quote, unquote, sing and play guitar.
I'm Andy. I play the drums, and I don't even sing. I would say it's just vocals.
There you go.
It's not
You
singing,
make noises with your face. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
Sometimes
Okay.
they're to the key of the music. Sometimes they're not. You just gotta wait and find out.
Yeah, whatever
All right,
happened.
I'm Justin. I play the bass, and I learned all their songs, and I remember them better than they do.
Also true.
This surprises me 0.0% because I get the feeling the two of them are the wheel and you're kind of the hamster. So I think you just sort of keep it on track. That
but we're the handsomest wheels ever, right?
Dude,
That's right.
These wheels
That's
are
it.
greased, baby.
That's greased and just shiny and lubed up with first aid spray, really. So, all right, guys, I know you guys like to have a good time. And I know that you like to have a lot of fun, but we tackle some serious issues on this show. Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
And so I'm going to start with one of them. All right. And I want all three of you to think about it. Don't just off the top of your head. This is like really world changing kind of stuff here. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Hold on to whatever you need to. It's all under the desk anyway. There we go. Okay. Could each of you individually or as a band beat a honey badger in a fight?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I don't want. Yes. Listen, I don't want to say that I'm a great fighter, but
I am.
But
He doesn't
honey
want to
badger
say
there.
it. He will, but he doesn't want to say it.
that would be pounded into the ground when I got done with them. It would be a ground badger when I was done.
Okay. You do know they're mean. They're feisty. They have attitude and swag.
They haven't met me yet.
That's right.
You seen the size of his base? Don't stand a
That's a
chance.
very personal question, but Justin, I'll get to that later. Yeah.
He slaps that
Yeah.
bass like it's a honey badger.
I've seen him slap a string. He could slap a bee. What was it? Honey badger.
Honey badger.
Not a beaver. Well, maybe.
Honey beaver, yeah.
Well, we could talk about whether Justin slaps beavers at another time, but we'll stick with the honey badgers. So you guys this is not even a consideration. This is just a full-on confidence level 10 out of 10. You're just the honey badgers. You don't care if they're having a bad day. Maybe they've had Taco Bell and they're gunning for it. You're gonna just beat the shit out of the honey badgers. You're done.
Yeah, and then we put him in our next music video.
There you go.
Ooh, I like it. And if you ever shave the beard, Andy,
I could,
honey badger.
badger beard.
Yeah, there you
Good
go.
mark.
Hold on. Write that down.
I get proceeds from every single idea that I have on this show that people use. So just keep in mind, I'm getting badger beard residuals at some point here. So okay,
Is your
so
beard
you guys
not
are
wild enough? Badger beard by First Aid
badger
Spray.
beard.
Apply
I meant
directly
it.
to your face.
Yeah. Okay, so look at this. This is a band that knows their capabilities. They are not even blinking at the honey badger. I'm kind of wishing now that I had been able to ask you the 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck thing, but whatever. But that's fine. We'll get to that later on. Maybe.
Sounds like math.
We'll have to throw that to Justin because
Yeah,
he's the only one who will answer it. So, all right. So you guys are. I first saw one of your reels a couple months ago, and I was like, it was on mute, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I unmuted it and I played it, and I was like, all right, these guys are a ruckus, like a complete, they're just hilarious and whatever. And I think that my guess is that most people who know you may either have found you through or at least strongly link you to your reels and your videos, because you do a lot of them. And they're always funny. Even if you're doing your trivia or whatever, like it's always funny. So before we get into anything else, I'm just wondering, this is how you guys are all the time? I expect you're just a ruckus 24/7, or is this mainly for social media and you're all sitting there, reading, Proust or whatever?
When we're home, we're at our Bible studies and we're testing our math skills and, constant pop quizzes of 42 times 9.
Well, you've heard our trivia. You know how much we study.
Yes, I'm guessing that's not occupying a ton of time in the First Aid Spray studio, but okay. So,
it's not for social media. We're a lighthearted group. We have fun at practice. We look forward to it. We look forward to shows. We know we're not maestros. We're not the best at our instruments, but we have the most fun. And I think it shows and it helps.
If you can't have fun doing it, then what's the point?
I hear you.
Otherwise it's just work.
Our music is not hard to play.
But it's fun.
That sounds like a challenge for people watching to see whether they can do it or not. Justin, I generally don't like to chastise guests on the show, but could you just keep it down a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Seriously, there are other people here who want to talk too. So really, just slow your roll, dude. How do you keep up with these two? Because you seem a little more. I don't even know what the word, or a little less something.
I just take the back seat and let them do their thing. Because like the TikToks and the reels and stuff, it's not really my thing so much. But when they have ideas, I'll do them and I'll try and put some effort into them. But
just some, not a lot.
Yeah, just some.
Just some.
But yeah, I just watch some. I'll crack jokes sometimes, but I'm typically just watching them do their thing and laughing at them.
He's got dry British humor. He'll crack some jokes, and I have to sit and think, oh, wait, he's making fun of me.
There's nothing a lot of that.
After a small delay, Andy realizes he's being mocked, and then he also thinks that's funny.
Fine.
So
that's how we go. We don't take any offense to anything. We just have fun. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We have fun.
Yeah. You're having a good time. Well, no, and I think it shows up in your social media. It shows up in the music too. So I'm going to get this is the Barbara Walters retrospective of First Aid Spray. I'm going to get deep into this. I want to know, how did the three of you each get into music, and then how did you hook up with each other? And then how did you meet?
Okay. Go ahead, Adam.
I'll start.
I'm just kidding. I don't know if you've hooked up with each other or not, but how did the three of you, were you guys musicians from when you were little kids? Is it newer? And then how'd you become a band?
It's funny because my parents, both of my parents, they prefer silence over anything. So, I didn't have any music growing up.
Really?
Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I was into video games. I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater. That introduced me to just a wide range of music taste. And so one year I asked, as a little kid, I asked my parents for a drum set. And I wanted to be a drummer. And so that Christmas, I woke up to a nice brand new acoustic guitar.
Your parents were like, we like silence.
Yeah.
Drums are the opposite of that.
And so
let's get him a guitar. Okay.
I noodled around with that for a little bit. Then I worked my way up to an electric guitar and, just kind of bounced back and forth through lessons and self-teaching and just kind of learning enough to get by. And then I took a hiatus for a little while, and absence makes the heart grow fonder, and I picked it back up and met Andy, and the rest was, they call history.
History, except it's actually currently happening. So,
That's right.
Okay, so you that doesn't sound like your hiatus ended all that long ago then.
Yeah, it was actually because we formed First Aid Spray 2020.
No, it would have been, I think it would have been 2021.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, COVID hit obviously, and that's when everybody decided, you know what, I'm gonna take up learning an instrument or go back to, I'll finally finish that home project that I'm gonna do or whatever.
You either needed to learn an instrument or make sourdough bread. Those were your two options.
Yeah.
Dude, we got chickens like everybody else.
Yeah. And 2020 hit, and I picked that guitar up again to try to pass the time. I made a Instagram account for music and just tried to stay as creative and just every day try to better myself every day on that. And yeah.
Okay, so not that long ago. So all right, Andy, it seems pretty clear that you need to pick up the ball on this story. What about you? Was baby Andy just banging away on pots and pans, or?
Oh man, I remember my journey back in the 90s. I remember my mom had a Aerosmith, the big ones, VHS, and had like all their music videos and their tour. And I remember seeing Joey Kramer from Aerosmith banging on the drums. I was like 4th grade. I was like, I want to do that. So I remember asking for drums for that Christmas as well, and being robbed just as well. They gave me like this Yamaha electric pad, which, come on, you want the bass drum, you want the cymbals. So I got that.
Yeah.
So fell out of love with drums real fast with that. And then, like everybody else, I did middle school band. That was I just was trumpet.
Same.
Good old trumpet.
The trumpet. Okay.
Yeah.
Trumpet. Wow.
And then I wanted to do percussion. Didn't work out. The music instructor said, no, there's other people that are better, which they were. And then,
thank you, music teachers. Very encouraging.
And then towards the end of high school,
but not that. Yeah.
Yeah. Learn something else is what I was told. And then high school, or end of high school and beginning of college, I wanted to get back into percussion and bought a drum set and just never stopped from there. And I played in plenty of bands. I got to do some fun stuff. I got to drum with Salt and Peppa at a 90s kind of show here in Kalamazoo. Coolio, rest in peace. I got to meet him, stand backstage and play with him. So that was cool. So I got to see that side of it. I mean, 25 years past their prime, but I got to see the backstage life and all that fun stuff and drum with huge people. It was just
Salt,
awesome.
Peppa, to take that as a compliment. 25 years past your prime, but he loves you anyway. But okay, yeah. So you played drums with Salt and Peppa?
Well, I played in right before them. They had a band like fill in.
Oh, you were on a ticket with them. Okay,
yeah, we were on the ticket with them,
okay.
so I got to play alongside.
I was like, do they even have a drummer? But yeah, okay. So
no, but I played with the DJ and I played along to the songs he was spinning and just kind of did that, kind of like a Travis Barker DJ AM thing back when they did that. Yeah.
I'm wondering if when you met Coolio, did you do your beard like his hair?
I was a clean-shaven boy at the time.
Oh, okay, because this would have been a spectacular look. I could tell.
Oh, I know.
Look how great that looks. Just Yeah, think about it. Think about it. You can switch between that and the honey badger. Yeah. I know. I'm like a beard. Real. I'm like a beard inventor today. It's like a weird niche for me that I didn't know I'd be filling. But okay.
Badger beard, Coolio beard.
Yeah, we could just I mean, the possibilities are okay. So you had a taste of bigger time.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then I actually started working a job with Adam at a place here in Michigan, and we worked together for a couple of years and realized like, hey, we both like playing music, so we'd hang out, play music, but we didn't get into First Aid Spray and start taking it serious till a year ago or so.
Okay.
So, but we've just been every day like posting videos, like you see, like it's a 24/7 machine that we've got operating here.
Oh yeah.
Don't let all the jokes fool you. We work hard.
Oh no,
sure.
I actually if you guys were just funny, I don't think I would have necessarily been interested enough to have you on, because funny only takes you so far, like any great, and not that you guys are parody musicians at all, but any great parody musician like Tenacious D, Weird Al, the reason that they're successful is because they're funny as hell, but their music is really good. Like it's really
Right.
good.
Yeah.
So, you know, being able to be funny like you are, if you were only funny but you weren't good at what you do, you know.
Yeah, our songs aren't necessarily funny. The songs are more. I mean, some of them are funny.
Some of them
Elbow
are
song
definitely
is funny.
The Elbow song
But,
is
like,
very funny. Yeah, yeah.
It's
yeah.
not like we're writing like Weird Al parody songs. They're still like fun songs,
real
but
songs. Yeah,
That's-
absolutely. Yeah,
That's the
no,
thing
definitely.
is like, you know, we might not take ourselves too seriously, but we take what we do seriously, and you just try to, like we said, just try to have as much fun with it as we can while we do it.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's
No,
where
no,
First Aid
that's-
Spray comes from.
Yeah, well, that's another question coming up. So, all right. So, Justin, I'm assuming that you know, you were walking along the side of the road, and these two just abducted you and threw you in the trunk and forced you to play bass, or like
That's more
how
or
did
less
you-
what happened. Yeah.
how
I
did
think
you
I'm
end up
fucking fine.
getting into music in the first place, and then how the hell did you hook up with these two?
Well, it was during the Guitar Hero era, of course.
Okay.
I was just playing Guitar Hero a lot, and I was really good at it. I got it for Christmas one year, and I went and visited my family, and my uncle was like, "Hey, you're pretty good at that. You ever think about playing real guitar?" And I said, "No, never. Like, not at all." But he was like, "I have one of your dad's old guitars. If you want that," I was like, "Okay, sure." So he gave it to me, and I just started practicing it pretty much every day for about 9 years. I was super consistent with it.
Wow.
Mostly self-taught. Like the internet and YouTube has so much information. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
so it took me, I would say it took me a lot longer to get to where I should have been because I didn't take lessons, but I got to a pretty good place, I'd say. And then, so that's most of that journey. And then let's see, I kind of fell out of music for the last 4 or 5 years, and I was looking to get back into it, and I really wanted to play a pop punk band. And the thing is, around here, pop punk was dead for like the last probably 10 years. Like nobody was playing pop punk bands.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's having a resurgence. There's like actually a few around here. And a friend of mine, Zach, I was networking with him, and we were, shopping around to find a band to play with. And he told me about First Aid Spray, and I was like, all right, I'll check it out. So I messaged Andy and showed up, and I had learned the songs adequately, and they seemed happy with it. So
I gotta stop right there. When we practice, we forget our own songs that we wrote, and we both will just look at Justin and be like, "Is this right?" And Justin will be like, "No, it's supposed to be this." And we're like, "Oh, okay, good.
yeah,
At least somebody knows what's going on."
definitely happened a few times.
Yeah.
I love that he's the archive of your music, that he was not there when you put it together. And
he didn't come around. We started. I want to say he didn't come around till probably like 5 months into me and Adam writing the songs and stuff. So
Yeah, I think it was around February this year that I joined.
yeah. So he hasn't been around as long, but he's better at the songs than we are.
Yep.
And which
This
is great.
step one of Justin just replacing everyone in
Yeah,
First
yeah.
Aid Spray.
It's gonna be a band of
It's going to be
Justins.
like the Borg. It's just going to be Justin doing everything at some point, just like.
But it's so great when we added him because Adam was recording all the bass tracks and stuff on the songs till we found a bassist, and his bass playing is actually really, really freaking good. But Justin over here, he's just takes it to a whole new level.
Blows me out of the water. I mean,
Like there's parts I'll just like mouth bass, I'm like doodle deep doo. They're so catchy, and like even my daughter, she's 4 years old, and there's parts in her songs where it pauses and there's just a little bass diddle.
Yeah.
And my daughter will sing along to just the bass parts, and that's how you know it's catchy. When you got 4-year-olds like
Ooh,
loving
you
your
might have a
jams.
little bass player on your hands there to be picking that out.
Justin
Yeah.
has definitely left his mark on the band for
Yeah.
sure. So
Yeah, I always feel like, especially in pop punk, bass is underutilized, but there's so much room,
Absolutely.
especially when you're just playing power chords, that like you can do a lot with it. So
just
he isn't just playing power chords, but when there are the power chords,
Justin
I really
is
like
quiet
to
but
fill the space.
deadly when he strikes.
told
That's
you,
just
you gotta
if
watch
you're
out for
just
him. He'll
doing
get you.
No, but I know what you mean with pop punk in general. Like there's so much high end. Everything is just all up here. The guitars are squealing, and the usually it's la la la, like all the vocals are up there, and you're right. There's not that much balancing on the low end, so it was, and I think it's one of the things that makes your music more danceable. Because if you've ever seen people try to dance to just like straight punk music,
It's hard.
it looks like a bunch of people in like a Hadron Collider or something. They're just sort of banging. Nobody knows what the hell, but you're going to mosh around. but your stuff actually has a groove to it that, I think is makes it more interesting than the average pop punk band, even if you're just playing chords or whatever it is that you're doing, Adam, whatever little bit that you're, just doing there. But okay, so you guys all seem to have had similar, like, okay, I want to do that, and then somebody said no, and then you kind of, except for you, Justin, which it amuses me that Guitar Hero, I think, is like the only video game where people will watch you succeed at it and be like, you should do that for real. Like, nobody watches people play Grand Theft Auto and go, have you ever thought about driving around town and setting things on fire and picking up hookers? You're like, I have.
Smacking a hoe?
Yeah, it's like, well, now that you mention it, I do have a degree in that. But no, I and it's funny because I know some people who will say that they were good at Guitar Hero, and then when they tried to play an actual guitar, they could not do it at all, because obviously it's a different thing. But you actually managed to translate from the game to playing a real guitar. So good for you.
It helped that I had a friend too who he had a guitar, but he never really played. So I'm really competitive, and I had a constant drive to be better than him, and he didn't have that drive so much. So once, but that really helped fuel me, I think, because we were learning a lot of the same songs. We had a lot of the same music taste, and then. But it was clear once he realized I was better, he kind of dropped out and didn't want to do it as much. So
he's a sniper. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna have to interview that guy, and he's just gonna be like, "My name is Doug. I had a dream, and Justin just ruined it for me. And now I don't do anything. I just live in a box in my house. I have a house,
to play
but
Call of Duty a lot more.
You've just ruined him. That's it. He's done. I also like that you found the sweet spot of wanting to be better than someone who wasn't particularly ambitious, because your effort level gets to be a lot lower there. It's the guy who's like,
set the bar real low.
You're like, I'm going to be better than you. And he's like, okay.
And I should clarify, by me being better than him, I was still absolute shit. But.
Wow. And then you are a sniper, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. You gotta watch out for Justin.
He's quiet, but he's deadly. So far, you've managed to just reduce Adam to chords, and this guy you were so much better than him, and he sucked ass, and you're like, well, there you go. So okay, well, I'm gonna watch out for you.
I'm walking on eggshells here.
Before I go too far down this, Adam has made a lot of grooves and a lot of riffs that I never would have come up with, that I think are really good and really contribute to the groove you were talking about.
Yeah,
so
no, don't worry.
Asset.
I'm messing with you guys, but I totally get that you guys seem to be very much of one mind and appreciate each other, because I don't think you could have as much fun doing what you're doing if you didn't enjoy playing together. Like, it's
oh yeah.
I've been in bands where I don't like the people I'm playing with, and even if the music sounds good, it's just you're not having any fun, because it's like, I gotta hang out with these people.
It translates. If you're not having fun playing, the crowd or the recording or whatever is going to feel that, and it's just,
absolutely, absolutely.
What's the point?
Oh yeah, man. We played a show last weekend. Man, smiles the whole time. We all were. I watched videos. I was like, dang,
it was a blast.
We have fun up there. You can see it.
That does not surprise me in the least little bit. I mean, you guys have fun when it's just one of you doing whatever it is that you want to do. The three of you on stage, I can only imagine. So, okay, so you guys, when I was listening to everything on Spotify, and for those who don't know, who haven't heard it yet, it's just been about 2 weeks, right, that you released the latest album? Yep. Okay, so To Be Expected came out June 30th. Okay, and so it is definitely a First Aid Spray production. You've got all the bells and whistles on this one, but you have a bunch of stuff out, actually, and it seems like, if we're having only been together for like 2-ish years officially, you're putting out things pretty quickly. So, I mean, we're going to get to all the talking about that, but why don't we let everybody hear, before we get any further, one of First Aid Spray's new songs. So you wanted to play Left to Give from To Be Inspected, right? Okay. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about say anything about the song before we roll it?
Sure. It is, as you'll be able to tell by just the tone of it in the first like 10 seconds is very heavily Blink-182 influenced, which I grew up. That was my first CD that I had to buy a second copy of because I burnt out the first one. Like Enema of the State was my lifeline in young 6th grade Andy. It was a good time. And Adam's got a very similar love for Blink-182. So it's very heavily influenced by that. And we had Mama's Maiden Studio make a music video for us for it. And
shout out to them.
Can't get better than that. Good. That's right. We love Mama's Maiden around these parts. So
yep. So shout out to her. She did an amazing job. So it incorporated like that feeling that we like to think our music puts out, like the skateboarding vibe, which I love skateboarding. I've been doing that since I first started hurting myself, which has been like 12 with skateboarding, breaking bones and having fun. And there's wipeouts in the video. It reminds me of growing up. It's awesome. So she nailed it. She nailed the feeling of the song. And what do you guys think about the song? I'll stop talking.
It's just funny. It's one of those things where that guitar riff, that's a guitar riff that I wrote as a kid in my bedroom. That just, when you're bored watching TV and you're just kind of, diddling around, that was the riff I came up with. And, so when we're trying to write a song, you always go back into that vault and it's like, okay, what did I have before? Yeah. Oh, here's a riff that I came up with a long time ago. And
oh, wow.
It's funny because now I'm getting to the point where I'm running out of old riffs that I can rely on, and I'm like, oh no, now I gotta figure out something new.
Damn it, I have to write something now.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're still going through your old catalog, you must have had a bunch of them stored up. But okay, that's really cool. That we'll talk more about that after the video plays. But Justin, you got any pearls to drop on this one?
Yeah, this was one where they had the drums and the guitar written, and Adam hadn't written a bass line yet. And he's like, "You want to take a stab at this one?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And there's a part where the guitar and the drums drop out, and he was like, "I don't really know what to do there. If you figure something out, go for it." So that's where I came up with the just the little bass line where it's do, and that his daughter always sings. Yeah, that's all I really have to add to it.
It's huge with 4-year-olds.
Yeah,
in Andy's house, it's huge.
It's gotta get them while they're young.
It is the number one bass line among 4-year-olds in Andy's house, and really, I mean, what better accolade could you get? So, all right, you guys just buckle up, strap in, whatever the hell you're gonna do. We're gonna roll Left to Give from To Be Expected by First Aid Spray.
Something going on inside of my own mind. I find it hard on most days for me to find the time. But then I talk to you and suddenly it's gone. 'Cause you're my only thing right in a world that's so wrong. I got nothing left to give. I've got nothing left to give. I'll say it again, I'll motherfucking say it again. I've got nothing left to give, I've got nothing left to give. I'll say it again, I'll motherfucking say it again. Remember the time when we went around, we clowned around the whole damn town. I've got nothing left to give, one life left for me to live. Now we've got nothing in the tank, some gas for one more break. I've got the pick, I'm gonna spark it quick. All this shit makes me sad. I've got nothing left to give, I've got nothing left to give. I'll say it again, I'll motherfucking say it again. I've got nothing left to give, I've got nothing left to give. I'll say it again, I'll motherfucking say it again.
wow, that was great.
Man, what a tasty jam!
Wow. Mama's Maiden Studio.
Boy,
got
oh
going on.
boy. Oh
Can you
yeah.
believe
No,
that
Mom,
singer and how good looking he is?
really.
Wow.
I mean, just the raw animal sex appeal steaming off of it. It's just
He raw dogged it. I tell you what.
So how did you end up hooking up with Kimmy at Mama's Maiden? I mean, I know everybody, she's making a big name for herself, well deserved, but was that in the works for a while, or was that like a last minute thing? How'd you guys end up?
I was talking to her, and we were in the video game. One of her songs is in the Depths of Insanity video game.
Right.
But
Yeah.
she was a big part of that as well.
Available on Steam.
Make sure you check it out. Depths of Insanity. Sloppy Joe Studios. Follow them if you're not.
Joe. Not the first shout out to Sloppy Joe on this show. Absolutely.
So yeah, Kimmy, I talked to her and she said she wanted to do that. She was looking for people that were in the game to make a music video for, and I said for sure.
Said us, please.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. You're not going to say no.
No, and she made it beautiful because typically when I saw her posting stuff, it was more of like a fantasy kind of darker imagery, and I was like, man, I wonder what she's gonna do for us because that's not us. And I was so excited when I saw it. She did.
Oh, she did an awesome job. She nailed it.
Yes.
No, that's one of the best things about her work is that whatever the project is, she gets the assignment right away, and then she just knocks it out of the park. So there is a reason that everybody wants to work with Mama's Maiden Studio at this point. So definitely did right by you, and I think it's cool because you guys do have so much personality. Even you, Justin. You don't like to admit to it, but you do.
Yeah,
you do. You're quiet, but you're powerful. And I think anything that captures what you guys are about, especially alongside the music, because I can't. There's only you couldn't have a super serious video.
No.
Your song. It just actually it would be really
Challenge
funny once
accepted.
if you did that. You really should do that. You should just have something that's just like dark and epic, and then just be like, damn it.
Okay, watch this. I'm gonna stare into the camera. You can't take this serious.
Okay.
See, it doesn't even look right. It just doesn't.
The clouds start to get real dark, and rain starts to come down. It's just like it's not us. Ah!
Yeah.
If Andy doesn't have a smile on his face, I don't recognize him.
Yeah, actually, I would find, and speaking of recognizing, I'm glad you did not decide to shave the beard. I know you were
I got
debating.
a lot of feedback for that. Being like, no, don't do it. I'm like, all right. Except for my wife. She's like, you should do it. Nah.
I love that you listen to everyone but your wife. Like, I feel like if it was going to be like the Facebook community of people who don't know you or your wife's opinion, and you were like, I'm going to go with the Facebook community because I think you want to keep the beard.
She loves
You
me
want
and
to-
I love her, so she loves it.
Plus, all of your life force is probably in your beard at this point.
It really is.
It would
I've
be
heard of-
like when Superman, they closed down, the Fortress of Solitude, and he was just like some dude in a diner getting beat up. Like, if you shave your beard,
I've heard him drum without a beard. He can't keep a beat. It's all in his beard. So
that's it.
it's a rule.
There's actually tiny hands under the beard that hold the sticks.
It's like Ratatouille. There's just some like small mollusk in there directing all of your skill. I got you. Okay, yeah. No, all right. Well, good. We still have bearded Andy. That's a very good thing. So
Still here.
okay. So you guys are, obviously define yourself as a pop punk band, and I hear so many of those influences in your music, and when I make these comparisons, I'm always careful to say that they're always meant to be complimentary and not to imply that anybody's ripping them off. It's reminiscent of things. So I mean, I was hearing Blink 182, I was hearing Weezer, I was hearing Offspring, I was hearing Green Day, I was hearing presidents of the United States of America, and Papa Roach, and even Outkast, which kind of like Stumble. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, but like Outkast, if they covered Skater Boy but made Skater Boy better, and I was just kind of like, all right, and I had so much fun listening through to everything because you guys, and I hear what you're saying about our band says the same thing all the time. We take our music, but not ourselves seriously, because it's just, you know, it can deflate things if you're too self-important about the music that you're making. And especially with the kind of music that you guys are making, I think it's all about fun. You know, you're going to score, a party with a First Aid Spray album, not like a funeral or something.
That's
So
right.
like, but I mean, when you guys are writing, do you, and I want to get into the songwriting process and all of that, because I got a little taste from Justin that, he came in on Left to Give and, laid down a bass line that wasn't already in existence. But I mean, some of the stuff I gather, Andy and Adam, you guys put together before Justin came into the picture. So there were pre-existing bass lines. So when you're sitting down to write an album, do you get an idea for a bunch of songs at once? Do you just get ideas for one song and then you wait until you have enough and put them in an album? And how do you go from, how do you get an idea for a song? Is it a riff? Is it a beat? Is it a bass line? Is it, different for every song? What's your process?
It really is different for just about every song, but for the most part, Andy will just come up with a drum beat, 2.5, 3 minutes worth of drums, and he just says, "Here you go," and you kind of just creatively vomit, and what comes out is kind of just the structure of the song, and then from there you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do differently, what you like, what you don't like, and kind of make the puzzle pieces fit. And there is one song, Elbow Song, that's probably our first song that Andy said, "Hey, I've got a chorus. I've got an idea for a chorus."
Oh,
and
look at you, lyrical genius! All of a sudden,
yeah.
wow.
And as genius as it is, we made it work. And but yeah, for the most part, we kind of just take this blank canvas and you just throw as much paint on there as you want, and then from there you can kind of make out what you want your image to be, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. And I mean, do your songs ever grow out of just jams?
No, we're terrible artists. We're terrible. So yeah, a lot of I will say, before we were in First Aid Spray, Andy and I would jam together. And this was kind of back when I was just getting back into guitar, and we had recorded a couple songs. But I remember those songs were just horrible.
Yeah, they weren't good.
We recorded the drums on a mixer and not an interface, so the drum sound was kind of flat. But I remember there was no lyrics because we weren't confident in singing.
Still aren't.
The guitar, there was no change between the verse and chorus. It was just a 2-note song, just bouncing back between those 2 notes, because that was all I was really confident playing.
Okay.
And slowly just, then we started, we'll try adding a 3rd note and see what happens. And
the world's your oyster.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch out.
And so, yeah, we just kind of built from there. And like I said, you just kind of vomit, and what comes out, we record it. And
well, it's interesting to me, though, that you associate not being, a band that writes songs out of jams with not being good artists, because it's arguably at least as difficult to sit down and come up with something intentionally as it is to happen into something. So, I mean, the fact that you often start with drums is really interesting to me, because generally when I've been involved in writing music, or if I'm writing my originals and I'm trying to figure out what I want, I don't think I've ever started with the drums. Ever. Either I have lyrics, or I have a melody line, or there's a guitar riff that somebody has or whatever. But like, usually it's kind of like, when the Beatles would sit down and, John and Paul would be strumming, and then Ringo would just go sit at the drums and just start, jumping in, and George would, you know what I mean? Like the drums coming first is very interesting to me, because I don't think I've had a band yet that when I asked them about their songwriting process said, yeah, we start with the drums. Like or it's a drum machine and it's an idea that they have like a preset or, something like that in mind. So okay. So Andy, you're sitting down, you just find a groove, and then you record that for a couple minutes, or do you get ideas and then build on them? Like, what's your drum process?
I come downstairs and I turn on all the mics and I sit down and I will structure out like, all right, what kind of beat will sound like good for a verse? Like, you don't want it to be heavy on a crash drum because you're going to be singing. So I kind of think of it like that. Right. And then I'll play like, all right, how long is our verse going to be? You know, pop punk. So I don't want to have to write like freaking 18 bars of a verse. Ours are pretty short. So that makes it easier. Right, so I'm like, all right, 4 to 8 bars of this verse. And then maybe put like 2 bars of just like a transition into a chorus. And then think of like a chorus, like a catchy kind of beat. And then sometimes on the next song, I'll switch it and start with, we'll start with a chorus this time, or like a 30-second intro, and just, I don't know, just Frankenstein a beat together with, you know, just the beats, and then try to record it, or do record it all in one take, which is the most annoying part. I hate recording drums. Oh man. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a one take process. And
but so you are actually, you're not just coming up with a beat or a groove that might be used as going under a verse or under a chorus. You're writing the whole song structure out. That I don't think I've heard that before. I don't.
Yeah,
so I find that fascinating. Yeah, I mean, it's cool though, because it's, I mean, I say it all the time on the show and everywhere else that I think that bass and drums are just criminally underrated in every form of music ever. Definitely. Nobody, I mean, you know, and I've told the story before that, you know, we had a gig at one point with one of our old bands, and the bass player couldn't be there. And I was trying to find a sub, and I couldn't find anybody. And one of the guitarists goes, "Well, do we really need a bass player?" And I was like, "Oh my God. Yeah. If we don't, then we're not doing things very well." And, you know, and it's like, people don't think about the fact that if your ass is out of your seat, it's because of the bass and the drums every single time. You don't dance to guitar solos. You don't dance to melodies. You don't dance to lyrics. You dance to the rhythm section. And so it's critical for any kind of music, whatever it is. I mean, even if you're not trying to get people to dance, if your bass and your drums are not where they need to be, at best, it's massively distracting and it lets the song down, right? But to start with the drums and to have a whole drum song structure in mind sounds really cool to me. Like, that's you really try it. I'd have to learn drums first, but I could ask Greg to try it. But yeah, but I mean, it that's really cool. So okay, so you have, you know, you obviously have a sense of, like you said, you're not doing these epic things where you need to leave a ton of space for verses. You're not having all this complex, you know, you know what your structure is. So Justin and Adam, then when you get this drum beat, do you just say, okay, this groove reminds me of this genre? I mean, it's not that you're not already in a genre, but like this pop punk song, or, you know, this seems like, or are you just fucking around and you happen upon I mean, I know you have your vault of riffs that you go to, Adam, but like, you know, do you guys find, how easy is it for you to come up with bass and guitar that goes over what Andy's already done on the drums?
What I've done a couple times is, you know, I'll take his drum track and I'll record a verse, chorus, just to kind of get a feel of where I want to be. But, you know, then I'll take those tracks, I'll mute them, and then I'll take a completely different direction. You know, if I want to try a heavier sound or just anything, and I'll try that and I'll bring it in and I'll just say, hey, what do you guys think of this? What do you think of A? Listen to it. What do you think of B?
Okay.
And we can kind of say, oh, well, I like this aspect from this song, but I like this aspect from this song, or I'm leaning more towards this one or whatever. And then you can kind of say, okay, well, now I know what direction I'm facing, you know, what step can I take in this direction moving forward. And that's pretty much how most of our songs are written. Is
the lyrics come last.
Lyrics are the last
thing.
Yeah.
And Justin, for you, like, because it would seem to me to be equally natural to be the next thing after the drums that came in,
You would
because
think.
you guys create the pocket, right? But then, I mean, one of the things that I think that people maybe don't realize is a key component of playing the bass is that the bass line has to be very aware of what the melody line, the guitars are doing,
Right.
to not
Yeah.
step on that, to not, blow it out, to not compete with it, to not muddy up that same sonic space. So you are getting drums that then have Adam on guitar over it, and then you're coming in and putting in the bass third. Is that always the way that it goes? Do you ever get a hand on it before Adam does, or you got to start paying Andy and Beer Creek or something?
Well, actually, only the last 2 songs was I really involved with the bass writing, because I think every song before that was pretty much written before I really did anything with it. But for me, for Left to Give, which is the first one I really spent some time on, I had the drums and the guitar, and exactly as you said, there were a lot of notes going on, and I was like, okay, I need to figure out how to be melodic and technical, but not step on the melody here. And I literally spent a whole day on it. The way I've
You're like,
wow, right?
The whole day.
I've
This
actually
took me
retconned-
nearly an hour. Jeez, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. A whole day. All right. But
I worked on that song upwards of 60 minutes, okay?
yeah,
I've actually retconned a lot of the older bass lines too, and it's the same process every time. I have to go through, I tab out all of the guitar so I can see exactly what notes are being hit, what the melody is. And then I will actually go through note by note and like try to figure out, okay, does this note sound good here or not? And just, try to groove with it as much as I can, but I'm extremely meticulous, which may come as no surprise. But yeah, every time I've written a bass line for one of the songs, I definitely spend about a whole day on it. And yeah, I try to go note by note. That's most of it.
Do you two realize how much extra fucking work you're making for this guy? Doing it the way that you... No, but look, I mean, I love first of all, it's just hilarious to me because, Adam and Andy, you guys are like, the blondes, bearded. I mean, not that you don't have a beard, but like, you're like in this, and it's like Betty and Veronica, over here. And like, Justin's very calm and, meticulous and thoughtful. And like, you guys are over here in the corner. I just imagine like throwing Frisbees at each other. And then he's over here just, a beautiful mind with the, all the calculations or whatever. But so, I mean, so that is not a small undertaking at all, because you are, and hearing you say that and thinking back over the music, I like, okay, so I know the lyrics are funny. I know like burnt pizza, it might be kind of a throwaway to you, but like laundry, okay?
Yeah.
Laundry's very funny. But if you pulled the lyrics out of that, it is really well crafted. It really is. And the thing that was freaking me out is I'm listening to it and I'm going, what is this? What is this? This is reminding me so much of something. Do you guys know that song Freshman by the Verve Pipe?
Oh, yeah. They're from
yeah.
Grand Rapids. They're from like an hour from where we live.
So if you did a pop punk version of that song, to me, that's Laundry. Okay. And like one of the things in there that I noticed was that you are leaving room for each other, which is something that I especially appreciate because a lot of punk music, and I mean, maybe there are punk scholars out there who would scoff at what I'm about to say, but just as a casual listener, quick read kind of thing, a lot of punk can sound like a complete mess, right? Not that it's not good and fun for what it is, but I don't think of most punk music as being crafted, written. I don't think there's anybody sitting in their dining room all day tabbing things out and coming up with, counterpointed bass lines or whatever. I think it's people drinking like 40 fucking Red Bulls and just shaking their heads around for 15 minutes, and then people spin them around and throw them in a room and hand them guitars and go. That's how a lot of punk sounds to me. And again, there's a place for that. Like, I'm not shitting on it at all. But I think you guys, what I appreciate about your music is that while it's lighthearted, while it's funny, while it's catchy, it's dancey, you know, it's hilarious, it's also well done, you know, and I think, you know, you guys sort of, you joke around about it, but I hear how you do take the music seriously. Because Andy, for you to sit down and be like, oh, I'm not just coming up like, oh, you know, this sounds like a cool groove and then we'll figure out the rest later. You're writing a drum part for a whole song every time. And then, you know, Adam is sitting there going, okay, well, this could be the melody line on the guitar, or it could be this, or it could be some from column A and some from column B. And then by the time poor Justin gets it, you know, he's actually blueprinting it kind of, you know, in reverse, and then going, okay, here's the space. And that space is something that I think is part of what I like about your music more than I might like about other forms of punk, is that there is space. There are pauses. There are breaks. It's not just this relentless Ramones, Sex Pistols, kind of like, bah, 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 you know, and it's nonstop for 3.5, 4 minutes. And then your ear at a certain point could get really tired of that, especially if it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I think as much as you guys like to fuck around and be casual about it, you are working harder than you might want to admit offhand to get these songs to actually work and be musical and be melodic and be thoughtful in the craft. And I think putting that against complaining about, you know, your shit getting burnt with your pizza or how you don't want to do laundry, or, you know, I landed on my elbow or whatever, you know,
you say it like that, we sound like geniuses. Yeah, when you put it that way.
Yes, thank you for coming to Inside the Actors Studio. Today we have distinguished. But I mean, look, I mean, I'm not trying to make it more than it is, but I think it is more than it could look like, you know, because you guys could come in and just, you know, go up on stage and do something like laundry, do something like burnt pizza, whatever, and have people think, okay, this is really funny and ha ha ha. But I mean, when I'm listening to prep for the show, I'm not at a bar, I'm not at a festival, I'm not up dancing around, I'm not whatever. I'm sitting on my couch or wherever with my eyes closed listening to the music. And so I'm going to hear what's missing. I'm going to hear what's there that other people might not notice. I'm going to hear it more thoughtfully maybe than, you know, if you guys are at a gig or whatever and people are just 3 sheets to the wind and they come in and they're just going to have a blast. And you can do that. But I also appreciate, and I am gathering that maybe, I'm assuming everything coming out in the future is going to be more of a 3-part collaboration where poor Justin isn't, you know, showing up at the end of the day going, okay, guys, hand it to me. I'll go and, you know, do everything in the corner or whatever. Like, I'm assuming, Justin, the plan is going forward, whatever you guys write that's new, maybe you and Andy sit down together, you know, in that initial step, or, you know, maybe you knock Andy unconscious and grab the recording before Adam can get a hand on it, or I don't know. But like, is that part of the plan that from everything now going forward, now that Justin is fully assimilated into the Borg and all of that, that you guys are going to be writing, the 3 of you, more together?
Whatever works for us, you know. Like you said, when I picture somebody writing a song, I always imagine that they've got an empty room, an acoustic guitar, and a notepad, and they're just writing a song.
Mm-hmm. Not here, baby.
And we've tried that, and it just doesn't work for us.
Yeah,
you know, I can speak for myself. I've got way too much ADHD that I just can't do it.
I hear you.
So having, for me anyway, having at least a starting line. Yeah. Or at least just something that I can at least start with a drum beat or a bass track or whatever it is, you know. But, you know, maybe we'll just have Justin write all the rest of them, and we'll take a back seat.
Well, yeah, we'll see what happens. One of my very first sessions where they were writing a song, and I was just trying to throw in some guitar stuff I've come up with before, but it was totally the wrong vibe. It was like way Midwest emo and sad, you know. And this is like happy
Not
and
that.
groovy. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is, and like you said with the starting with the drums, that doesn't make any sense to me. Every song I've written, I had the guitar, then the bass, then the drums.
Right.
So it did not mesh with me at all. So I've kind of let them, that's why I've kind of come in at the end and
Mhm.
added what makes sense for me. But I've got some stuff I haven't showed them yet that's really pop punky that I think will fit the vibe. So I'm hoping once I show it to them, we'll get that worked in. Yeah, we'll see what
Okay.
happens for sure.
Okay.
Show me your secret, big boy.
Sing a little of it now, Justin. Sing a little of it now.
On
Yeah.
spot
Okay.
here,
So,
Mike.
no, but okay. Yeah. And I mean, again, I get that completely, Adam, as a fellow ADHDer. It's much easier for me to edit, adjust, work with something that exists rather than, so like our situation is always like, I'll be like, hey, I think we should start a band even though nobody can leave their house. And then Greg's like, okay. And then Greg goes off and, does his beautiful mind thing and figures out how to do it and comes back. And I'm like, oh, now I think we should have an interview show. And he's like, okay, and he's very sweet about it. But like I can have an idea and then I can work with existing ideas, but like having an idea and then following it through whatever, not my forte. So I completely can relate to that. But I think, it sounds like the way that you guys have been doing it, at least for you, Adam and Andy, I don't know about Justin, but it's working pretty well because, you can do that, Andy. You can sit down and say, okay, this is basically we framed out the house on the drums, and I will go on record, Justin, as saying, you keep saying, like you said, doing the drums first doesn't make any sense. I never actually said that. I said I wasn't used to it and I hadn't heard it before, but you put your little flavor on that with the not making sense. But I know what you mean because it isn't the standard sequence of writing a song.
Right. That's the thing is like they already had, I think, like 6 or 7 songs written before I joined. And I realized, they've got it figured out. They know how to work together to write a song. So I figured it just made more sense to come in later.
Yeah. No, but it's working. So, I mean, besides Left to Give, you said there were 2 songs that you came up with the bass line for. What was the other one?
Doing Well is the other one where you can hear my bass on the recording.
Okay.
So both on the To Be Expected.
Right. So you haven't gone back to anything older. Well, you said you did, though. You were
I
talking about
have
Retconic
written bass lines for the older songs, but we haven't recorded new versions.
I see. Okay. So we're just talking about these 2 on the new. Okay. So, I mean, well, that one, I mean, first of all, the lyrics to that one are very, what's the word? Passive aggressive. It's very like it's there's a lot about unrequited love and I wasn't sure where it was going to go at first, but it's definitely First Aid Sprayed lyrics. This idea of, oh yeah, you're doing well, here's what's going on over here. And I remember thinking how much I like the bass line, actually on both of those. They stand out in a way that while I enjoyed the other like Spray Can Sam and Uppers Downers, like I like those too, but I noticed the bass lines more on the new songs. And that makes sense to me too, because I wonder if in a way, because especially you, Adam, I hear you saying, but it sounded like you were speaking for Andy too, that once you first started getting back into it, you didn't necessarily feel all that confident about what you were capable of individually or as a team, right? And so, I think Justin coming in and being able to write bass lines under what you 2 have already done is maybe gonna show you that what you're doing is something you should be more confident about, because if it wasn't interesting, I don't think Justin's bass lines would be as interesting. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Yes. I don't know if it makes sense to Justin because he's vicious over there in the corner, but
I do think these songs are really good and they're really fun to play. And I mean, even if there's 1 or 2 I may not like as much, I can write a bass line that I can have a lot of fun with. So no matter what, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, yeah. So is the plan then to just redo the bass lines on the older stuff for like live shows, or do you think you'd ever go back and re-record?
Well, we actually have a live studio recording session coming up on Monday, and I think we're recording like 6 songs, and you're gonna hear all of my bass lines on those. And it's not all of the old ones, but you'll definitely hear some updated ones up in there.
Shout out
that's
to
cool.
Oxide Sessions. They'll be doing it. It'll be live video and recording, so it's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, that's very exciting. So you said that's next week, Monday?
Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
Couple
Monday.
days.
Okay.
Which
Okay.
should be, I think it should be done and out by the time this drops.
Okay.
So,
Because I think today, people watching it, it will be August 3rd. So
Right.
Okay. So yeah, it should be out. Okay. Well, then people will either have already seen and loved it, or they'll have to go find it now because you've just mentioned it. So okay,
Thank you,
I'm curious to ask this question. I don't think I have asked it before, but do you
Boxers.
guys have a favorite song from? I don't know what you said, and I'm not going to ask because I don't even want to know. But do you each have a favorite song of the band's? Or
Yeah, I think I got 2. I like Burnt Pizza and the Elbow Song. Those are my jams.
okay. What do you like about those 2 specifically, besides the very funny lyrics? I'm assuming.
I like Burnt Pizza just because it's just 1 minute of power. It's fun. It's energetic. It's a great song to start a show with live.
Yeah.
It gets everybody going. It gets everybody's blood pumping. And it's just, it's the First Aid Spray song through and through. Just, it's perfect. And the other one, the Elbow Song, it's way slower than typically anything else that we do. The
Yes.
tempo is a lot slower. But it's very I think it's our most catchy, and we find people actually singing along to it at shows, which is pretty freaking mind blowing when people sing along to
Everybody always has their elbows up in the air.
Oh,
and
no
they're like,
kidding.
Yeah.
The Elbow
I
Song.
landed on my elbow. Yeah. That's pretty
It's a
good.
Midwest classic.
Yeah, and then just you're gonna have people throwing like elbow pads, women on stage, instead of
Yeah,
bras
we
or
don't put
panties
panties
or
in our
stuff.
show. We get elbow pads.
Yeah, that's it. Much more useful when you're skateboarding. So Burnt Pizza and the Elbow Song.
Yeah, those are my favorite.
Okay, what about you, Adam?
I don't know, to be honest. This is gonna sound really cheesy, but it's hard to pick out of my children which one I love more. I may like this song more for one reason, but this song has a great solo, a great melody that I really love. I don't know. I don't know that I could answer that because our Spray Can Sam I thought was the best thing we've ever done, and then we recorded and released
To be expected.
to be expected, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, this is easily our both best songs, and so
That's a good trend. If everything you do
Yeah.
most recently seems like the best thing you've ever done, you're moving in the right direction.
That's
So,
what
all right,
it's
so
been so far.
you cannot pick a favorite child. Although I will point out, I think as prolific as you guys have been in the last 2 years, I think Nick Cannon still has more kids than you do songs. So we could ask him, what his favorite one of his children, and maybe what his kid's favorite song of yours is. Who knows? We
You
could
couldn't even name
tie the
them
whole
all.
thing together. So you can't pick. We have 2 one favorite songs for Andy, because math. And then, all right, Justin, being the professor of the group. And I mean, obviously, I imagine there are 2 that might have more affection for you in there than the others do, because you actually got to write the bass lines. But what about you? You
Actually, I would say I think Yeah is one of the best ones. That one's one where when I listened to it on Spotify for the first time, I was like, this is that early aughts pop punk sound that
Sum
I'm really
41, Blink 182,
it sounded-
Lump, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded very similar to like whenever you'd discover a pop punk band and you'd listen to their first EP and everything's like a little more raw. Vocals aren't quite perfect, and I thought and that one's still one of the most fun to play. I think it's got one of the best song structures we have.
Yeah. Well, it's very bass and drum heavy too.
Yes.
So I could see that being a lot of fun for you to
do your
do.
research. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Dang.
I listen to everything. I'm not kidding. And but how am I going to talk to people? Like, look, I'm sure you have. I've done interviews where it's basically like a half an hour of people asking questions that if they just opened your Facebook page or your website, they could get the answers to. So, what's your
Right.
name? What do you do? How many albums do you have out? I'm like, do you fucking like, what? I mean, like,
Yeah.
we're an online band. We've had people ask us like, we're an online cover band specifically. And like, people ask, what's your favorite venue to play? Or like, how's your originals album coming along? And I'm like, we're writing one. I didn't know that. So I feel like if I'm going to, ask for people's time or whatever, I should at least be paying attention. But I love it because and I've said this before too, you don't get to sit and just listen to albums anymore. Like you listen to singles or, if you're on Spotify, maybe you do if you're driving or whatever. But for the most part, you hear a song by a band. And if you like them and it's like, oh, this is cool. And then maybe the next time they release a single. But like, I actually get to sit down and listen to, by the time we finish this, probably like 4 or 5 albums a week at least. And that one, like it, the song, not me going, So, all right, I did the same thing with, what was that? The Freshman by the Verve Pipe. But that one, I heard in the guitar solos, and don't laugh at me, Journey, Faithfully.
Ooh.
If you go back and you hear that, bow, 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 it's
you're right.
in
Oh,
your
man.
song. And I'm like, wait a
Right.
minute. Because I was hearing Blink 182 and I was hearing Sum 41 and I was hearing a little bit of lump in the rhythms but you've got those the dueling guitars going kind of, and all of a sudden I'm going, wait a minute. And I'm not saying you ripped off Journey in any way, but it reminded me just enough of it where I was like, what is this doing here? It's like a sorority party and then like the emo chick walks in, and you're like, I don't know why you're here, but you just made the whole thing better. Like it's, so like I could totally see you liking that one, Justin, even though it's not one that you wrote the bass line for, because there's a lot going on in that song.
Well,
like there's a lot going on.
The bass line was already really good. That one's one where I really only added a couple small things. But yeah, like the riff he already had the end came up with is really fun to play as it is. I haven't even made any adjustments to the main riff.
Look at that. You've even pleased the Justin. He didn't need to improve on you at all. Not even, well, just a little bit, but not so. Okay. So we have 3 that we've identified. So for everybody watching, maybe those, if you're not familiar with the catalog, jump in on Burnt Pizza, jump in on the Elbow Song. I really like Left to Give. I really do. I think it's a very strong song. I think it's a very clear single. The guitar line's really fun. It's very, very catchy. I also really like Last Summer.
Last Summer's a good one.
There's just something. I love how the counter melodies play with each other in that song. I think the vocals are really good on that song. I think they're especially good. And I like how at the end, everything drops out. It's just a cappella, but it's a song I want to blast in my car. It puts me in a certain place and makes me feel a certain way,
Yeah, nostalgia.
But it's true. It is. And there are some songs like that where, if I'm listening to a band and I'm like, oh my God, this takes me back to like, nobody goes back to 2010 or whatever. I don't know why the hell that year popped into my head. Like, people will be like, oh yeah, 85 man or whatever. I'm like, yes, 2013. It was a very good year. Nobody fucking whatever. But like, but a lot of your music will do that where, it cheered me up.
Hey.
Honestly. Yeah. I mean, like I was not having the easiest week last week. Not that I ever do, but like, it was just so fun to sit down and listen to you guys, and especially knowing the personalities behind the music.
And that's why we do those videos. It helps.
Yeah, it really, but it's so, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that. So let's pivot very abruptly, because why the hell not? But like, you guys seem to have really understood a good way to use social media to kind of get your brand, get your names, get your ethos as a band out there. And I know, Justin, you don't necessarily participate.
Uh-oh.
in the reels and the videos and things like that. But I mean, you guys, even your Facebook profile picture right now, it's the three of you, just sort of, in this very and it's funny because it doesn't seem like it would mean that much, just a funny picture. But just looking at that, like if that was the first thing I had seen of your band, I would have been like, okay, so these guys might be bros, but they're also funny. They're not full of themselves. They like to have a good time. They're clearly close. Like that just alone would make me click in and open your page. Right. And so then because you show up in my feed a lot, which is funny because mostly it's like fucking, like Dolores's craft page, or with my luck, there probably is a Dolores's craft page. Dolores, I'm sorry. It was just, or like, people cooking food in giant pots in some country on a very long wooden table that like I would never be able to cook because it just looks too good. But I'm like, this is not music. So, okay. But like, and then you guys, like, that's my feed is like Dolores and like pans of food and then first aid spray. Right. So, but you'll pop up in there and like, I'm always going to click. I'm always going to unmute. I'm always going to play whatever it is because I want to see, all right, what the hell are they doing now? So that had to have been some sort of a conscious decision, right? Because it's so hard to stand out as an indie musician anyway, right? So like, what was the discussion, if there was one, around like, okay, if we're going to get on social media, we're not going to just be, big things coming soon and releasing whatever. Like we want to have real personality and a brand. Like, was that just you two, Adam and Andy, before Justin came in? Or, I mean, clearly it's right up Justin's alley personality wise, but like, so how did you guys decide to make your social media way more fun than most pages actually are?
Do you want to, or you want me to?
You can start, man.
I think you should answer at the same time, but say different things. Just try that.
It's funny, to be a band, you have to have some sort of social media. You have to have some sort of interaction with people. You have to do something. And so we made a social media, and it's one thing to have a social media and do nothing with it. At the time we were in the middle of recording, so it was like, we don't really have anything new to post, but
right.
So it was kind of like, well, we need to post something. What can we do? And then it turned into, well, Andy can make a drum video. I can make a guitar video. Okay, that's pretty good. What else can we post? And then it just turned into just wild, how far can we take this?
It's gotten out of control.
I have an idea. I have this crazy wild idea. How is it even possible that we can do this?
Yeah.
Well, we just need A, B, and C, and then we can do it. And then we do it. And, it's just entertainment. Music is entertainment.
Yeah.
Our social media is entertainment. Whatever, as clickbaity as that sounds, whatever it takes to just get.
No, I don't think it sounds clickbaity because I think, or Warren Beatty for that matter, but like I think it's for you guys, it's clever because even if I haven't heard any of your music yet, when I watch your reels, sense of what to expect. I might not know what genre, I probably wouldn't peg you as like, death metal musicians based on your reels or whatever. But like, I think, and it's funny because your experience around social media, it's so similar to mine the last couple of months where I was in the same boat. It was like, you think, okay, you're going to make a page. It's supposed to be all professional. You're just going to post, your releases and your shows and, this, that, whatever. If you win a award or you get, put on a chart somewhere or whatever. And when dick all is happening and there's nothing to post, you're kind of like,
right.
Well, I guess I don't have social media now. And I had the same experience. I was like, you know what? This is just, what am I doing here? We're not, the second coming of Beethoven or whatever. Like, we're just going to have a good time. And I just started posting stupid music memes and jokes and sharing other people's. And I think you guys are so smart to be doing that because it gives your page a personality and an identity, that, I don't know, there was bumping of fists. I don't know exactly why, but it made me interested to wait for the music to come out, you know, and it made me interested to go on Spotify and be like, what are these guys about musically? Because they're hilarious. Like, you put something up on Facebook the other day that reminded me of like the opening to like every 90s sitcom ever, you know, where it was like, you know, like you'd be doing something and it'd be like,
the best friend video.
and I'm just sitting there laughing. Yeah, the best friends, and you know, at the end you're holding hands and skipping away, and I'm like, and it's like, and it's the same thing. And I don't mean to keep being self-referential, but I'm identifying with you guys so much. But it's the same process when we were interviewing for our bands. You know, I would ordinarily just be like, oh, well, you know, yes, well, this is the you know, the number of decades collectively we have of musicians or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to fly my freak flag and just be my weird self. And if they can hang, then they're probably going to stay in the band. Because we had a lot of people come in and be like, oh, this seems fun. And then be like, what the fuck is that? You know, because they'd see like personality plus from everybody. And, you know, it's sort of like being yourselves up front is the best way to weed out who belongs with you and who doesn't. Right. Yeah. So like, I love that. I love that you guys just went in for it. But I mean, like, I also appreciate that when you do manage to get Justin on camera, he's not trying, but he's not trying to be Andy and Adam. It's not that. And it to me, I mean, I think the first thing that I really saw of you on in one of the reels, Justin, was the thing with the trivia. I think that was just a couple days ago, you know, and you were just being you, whatever, but it was still funny because you guys clearly all get along. Right. And like, that's something that reads very well. And so your brand is your personality. And when your personality sucks, that's not a good thing. But you guys are actually likable. So I think that's brilliant. You know, I mean, it is gonna make you stand out. It is gonna make people want to listen to you. So I mean, like, Justin, how do you know, are you completely like, do I have to, or are you starting to get a little bit more into the weirdness and whatever? Is it sort of like?
I think when I first joined, it was a little more like, do I have to? I think the big thing for me is like, it takes a lot of work to post reels every day and like do all the editing and stuff. Yeah. And I don't feel like I can personally do that because I just like with everything else, I get way too into it. I start spending way too much time on it. Yeah. And it just like, it starts to stress me out. But it's great that they do it though, because our likes on Facebook and TikTok are way more than other local bands that I've seen that have been around for 2 or 3 years, but they just don't really post that much. Yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely a great boon to the band.
Yeah, well, and even if they posted a lot, it probably wouldn't be something that was engaging in the same way, you know? Right. I mean, you guys have the personality. You might as well, you know, show a little leg, right? You know, like personality wise, right? Like, what were you going to say, Andy?
I try to, you know, now that we've done it, I try to post at least one reel a day, a new one. So I go to work. Yeah, I have a full-time job. I don't make millions, guys. I know, but I'll come home from work at like, you know, 3, and I'll come home, relax for 30 minutes, and I go straight to the basement, turn on the cameras, turn on the mics, and I think of something I can do. And if I can't think of a funny idea, I'll just like, well, I'll just put together a cool like 10-second drum fill or a little drum solo, and you know, just to keep people coming back every day, like you said, you saw the reels before you knew the music, but once you saw, oh, they do music, oh, I gotta hear that, they're hilarious. So why wouldn't their music, you know, I already know them personally, you feel like, so I feel like that helps just like get you closer to the fans and people listen to your music, like, oh, I know these dudes are a bunch of crack ups, you know.
And I will say,
you know, Adam's raising his hand. Yes, Adam. Yes, Adam. You waited patiently. Thank you.
The thing is, you know, a lot of Andy, even like when I first met him, the dude is just a creative tornado all the time. You know, the dude just he's always thinking of something new. He's always got something going on to the point where, you know, I even saw a long time ago, obviously this guy is gonna go somewhere. I just need to grab an umbrella, jump into the tornado, and hope that I have a soft landing. You know, a lot of it is just, you know, hey, I've got an idea, and I'm like, all right, well, we just got to take these 2 steps and then we can do it. And you know, so you know, it's a lot of work, but it's at the same time it's also very easy, and it's one of those things where it's a mix of both. It can be incredibly difficult, but it's also very easy at the same exact time, you know, because like I said, he's always got something new that he's thinking of, and it's just like, all right, well, how can we just ground this and get that best foot forward? And Justin is, you know, just such a whiz. You know, if we have any questions with recording, you know,
he's our tech guy for sure.
Yeah,
we don't know anything.
Is, you know, believe it or not, we when Andy and I first started recording, the recording quality was horrible because we didn't know what we were doing. You know, we were recording vocals on a live mic in front of a speaker because we didn't have headphones or anything.
Oh,
you know?
no.
Yeah, and so as someone that knows vocals and stuff, you're thinking, oh, that's horrible, but we were like, hey, this is the best thing ever. And,
you're like, well, it works, so it must be good.
Right? You can hear it, right? And so,
oh God, I'm just trying to imagine just the tone of that and how horrific it must have been, even just to do it at the time. But okay. And then Justin was like, okay, you don't need to actually just dangle a mic from a soup can overhead and run by it quick. And okay. So did you get them into like an interface, Justin? Is that kind of the...
Well, no, I do have to give them credit. Before I joined, they were mostly on the road to figuring it out.
Okay. So, we had the interface before Justin. We figured it out.
Okay. You're like, in that year and a half or so before you showed up, they did manage to you know, paste together some ideas. Okay.
Recording music on your own, it's hard. There's a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
But every part of it is hard, right? Like the recording it, writing it, and then producing it, mixing it, mastering it, getting it.
Miking everything. It's just
it's hard. It is. It's really hard.
Learning how to record ourselves and everything, we found out that writing the songs was the easy part.
It's the easiest part.
It's the recording and
mixing and all that.
Mixing and all the production. You know, you know, it's funny because before Justin came along, we were like, okay, 2 + 2 equals, I think it's 4, and then you know Justin will come along and be like, yeah, it's 4. And we're like, oh yeah, okay, it makes perfect sense. So, you know, it's good to have him in our back pocket whenever we need him.
So it comes back to that confidence thing. You know, it's like, we think we know what we're doing, but it's like, Justin, you're like their dad, you know, like, or maybe like you're like their cool stepdad or whatever. It's like, this is my step ladder. I never knew my real ladder or whatever. But like, yeah, like you come in and you're like, no, you are right. It's okay. You can do what you want to do. So, I mean, like, what did you come in and really solidify in terms of the tech, Justin? Like, what was this? Since they were already mostly on the road to where they needed to be, what was your big input there?
I would say, like, a lot of the video sharing and the audio sharing, I taught them how to use Google Drive and share links.
I shudder to ask what you were doing before, but okay, yeah, those
One day I just had the
helpful.
idea. I was like, you know, you've been sharing a lot on Drive. It's probably pretty full, and we look at it, and it's like 99.6% full. And I'm like, yeah, you should just go through there and delete whatever you don't need. And it was literally everything was not needed.
I had to put my porn somewhere. You know?
I did a lot of DIY recording. I was trying to do a lot of YouTube stuff for a while, so I had a lot of experience with that. But honestly, when I got here, they'd pretty much gotten the recording figured out. For me, I would say it's as you said. I was just able to instill that confidence. Like, yes, what you are doing right now does make sense, and this is the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So they were pretty much there, but I think I gave them the confidence to feel better about it.
Boost.
Yeah. Well needed boost. Yeah, we needed it.
Well, but I mean that's it's funny that you're in the band, but you're also like the incredibly subdued hype man. You know, you're like, you can do it.
You're right.
It's like in The Office, you know, when Dwight throws the birthday party and it's like, it is your birthday, you know. But that's just like, I'm just stating a fact. You do know what you're doing. I'm not gonna whatever. So okay, so I'm thinking then if the tech and the recording and all of that is the most difficult part for you guys. I'm thinking the sweet spot then must be live performing, because you probably either walk into a place that has a PA, or maybe there's a sound guy there or something, or you guys bring in everything. Like when you gig out, what's the deal? Is it sort of plug and play? Are you able to just go up there and just have a really good time? And are you worrying about sound? Are you doing your own sound and engineering from the stage, or what? How does that all work?
We don't really worry too much. We've been lucky so far. We had a sound guy at the last one who made it sound great. We were playing with some bands that were on tour from North or South Carolina.
South Carolina. Yeah. The show before that, the band was from Florida. We were able to play with them.
So yeah, we're making friends in all different states. So when we got a tour around there, we'll have a couch to sleep on or something.
Yeah. So how much do you guys gig out?
We've done just two the last 2 weeks, and those were our first two. Okay. But we've got one we're supposed to do a skate competition festival thing in August over in Detroit.
Right up your alley. Okay.
Yep. We've got the Oxide Sessions Monday, which isn't a live show, but it's a live recording, and we're gonna film it. So that'll be nice. We'll upload that. And then we have a show in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it's on September 16th at Mulligan's.
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, performing live has been a treat so far. It's just fun. We were kind of perfectionists. We practiced twice a week, and run through the set 2 or 3 times each, and made sure we were tight. Like every choke on the cymbal was right on time. We got that all down. It was really a lot of practice for a while, but we went to the first show, and after we killed it, I was just like, yeah, it was worth it. So now I'm so comfortable with any show coming up. I feel awesome about it.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like how very organized your pop punk is. Justin, you were gonna say something about the tech and the performing out and everything.
Well, what I wanted to say is our first show, it was at a bar in Jackson, and we didn't really know what was going to be there, and we got there, and they don't have an in-house PA, but the bands that came up from Florida, they had all the equipment, so they set up a PA, and one of the guys was actually an audio engineer from the band Effet, and so he so he did all the sound for all of us. So
that's
luckily,
holy grail.
we didn't even have to worry about it for our first show.
Oh, you got spoiled. Okay.
Very lucky. Very lucky.
Because I've done those gigs where you walk in and the guy's like, hey, I'm John. I do the sound. We've got the PA all set up here. Let's just run you through soundtrack quick. And then, he's setting levels and we're playing. We're not paying any attention. And he's on the board, whatever. And then I've done the ones where it's like, hold on, everybody. And you're running off stage to, slide your mic. Oh, my God. It's that. Those are the rock star ones where you don't even have to worry about the PA, the sound engineering. You just show up, plug your shit in, and have a good time, and then you leave. That's pretty much asking if they have a PA is probably a good idea before you guys get there. Just pro tip. You might want to double check on that before you go. So you have a bunch of stuff coming up. That skate event I think is going to be very good for you guys. If ever there were a band designed to play such an event, I definitely think it's First Aid Spray. So, and then in terms of new stuff coming out, I mean, I know it's only been 2 weeks, but given how iterative you are, especially Adam, you sound like a little bit of a creative energizer bunny. I'm imagining you guys are not resting on your musical laurels. Are you already working up new stuff? Is there plans for the next album or at least next singles, or?
We've always got stuff in the back of our minds of what we want to do going forward, but at this moment right now, we're just really looking forward to just getting out in front of people and just plugging in and just being loud, and whatever gets recorded gets recorded.
Yeah, we got a good set list, and we want to go out and play it for a while, and then probably get back in and write 7-10 more songs, and then go play those.
I think you've earned that, spending, I don't know exactly when you started writing, but you have enough songs built up that you could, over the last, 2 years or whatever, that you could absolutely ride on that for a while. And I mean, one of the things is that I find that playing out, or playing live at least, it does tend to give you ideas for new things that you want to do, So I have the feeling you guys will be inspired by just playing out too. And I cannot even imagine how much fun your audiences must have when you go and play out, because I mean, so talk to me about the stage show. Are you guys showing up in like onesies and thongs and, you know, beer goggles, and like, what is, or, you know, are you more chill? Is there like a whole light show? Do you spell your name out in honey badgers on the, whatever, like what is the first aid spray experience if I'm going to be in the crowd?
There's some good banter. There's some good talking between songs. Not too much where you're like, all right, play the song, but we like to get people involved and joke around up there, just like we do with the videos. You'll see some comedy. It's high energy. We try not to play it faster than the recorded, but sometimes your adrenaline gets going, so you might play
absolutely
10 beats per minute a little faster sometimes. But the live experience, I think, is it's so much more just energetic, because I mean, you can hear it through the sound, but to have that bass drum thumping and getting your heart going, like it's an event. It's fun.
Yeah. Do you guys think you'll stream any of those to Facebook?
I do now. Stream.
We'll have to get someone to do it.
I mean, I got the idea because I want to see it, you know, like I want to see First Aid Spray live. And since I'm not going to be in any of those places, that would really be the only way for me to get to do it. But I think that would be a blast.
We're going to have to now.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Put you on the spot. That's it. You have no choice.
Justin work out the technology.
That's it. And Justin is like, damn it, this woman.
More work.
More tech for me. So, okay, so I want to ask you guys this, because I don't think I've heard anything in there that would answer this question for me besides just the genre that you play in. But what kind of music do you all listen to when you're not making your own?
I listen to a lot. I know that's a pretty broad answer.
Yes, thanks, Andy. That sucks as an answer. Try again.
I listen to other music when I'm not listening to pop punk.
I listen to things. I do many things.
I actually listen to, believe it or not, I'd rather listen to like a podcast or something new. I like to kind of learn or listen to comedy. I don't know. I get stuck in ruts sometimes, but I don't like to listen to the same thing over and over. I can't stay on the radio because it's all the same stuff. So finding myself in the Facebook community and stuff that we're a part of is great, because I've been doing just random music reviews. I'll pick somebody out in my timeline. I'm like, oh, that's
I like that.
Boom, pick one of your songs. I'll listen to it and write a little review on it. And I found some great bands doing that. Even songs like Busy Glizzy. That's one of my jams,
Electric Tardigrade. Yeah.
Dude, that song was happening.
Yeah.
Love that.
You guys gotta watch his interview. That's a really good one. But yeah, Aaron has a ton of really cool stuff out, and so many songs. But yeah, Busy Glizzy, the Glizzy selections. There's Fizzy Glizzy too, as I recall. But you haven't heard that one yet. But yeah, oh man, Andy, we can talk. I have so many bands that I'm finding or whatever. I'm not gonna use your interview to shout them out, but like just so many that you might not have even heard of. I'm finding new music every day too. So when you are listening, it's more to the indie music community, but otherwise you're more of a comedy podcast.
Yeah, I'd rather hear something new,
Okay. That's cool. So, I mean, like, what about before though? Like growing up, what were your big...
Oh man, growing up, like I said earlier, Blink-182, Enema of the State was the first album I ever burnt out. I was a huge fan of the Distillers, still am. I got to see them live in Detroit like 2 years ago. This close to the singer Brody. My son is actually named after the singer of the band. His name's Brody as well.
Aw, okay.
Yeah, so big influences from the Distillers and Blink, and then Aerosmith. My mom was a huge Aerosmith fan. That's really got me into rock and roll.
Yeah.
So yeah, those three would be my big ones, I think.
Okay. All right, Justin, what about you?
Let's see. So I was a teenager around 2006, and that was when a lot of bands like Mayday Parade, Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy were all getting big. And Paramore, those were some of my biggest influences. Not so much with like anything they've done in the last decade, but those were huge for me. But then I started getting really into Japanese pop, and that's actually what influenced a lot of my drive to make creative bass lines is because every Japanese pop song I've ever heard, like they go crazy with the bass. They love just, I don't know, it's just crazy to hear that stuff.
It's funny.
And then-
I thought for a second you said I got really into Japanese pot, and I was like, okay. I'm like,
secret
and then what were you
ingredient.
just like
Imported
plinking, like, you know, like
And that's how
bamboo?
he comes up with those tasty jams.
That's it. I'm like, it's all that Japanese pot. I was like, I did not know that was a big pot distributor. But okay, yeah, really Japanese pop. You're right though. There is an inordinate, and I've learned from I'm trying to remember who told me that there's also a huge metal community in Japan. But so Japanese pop. Okay, I don't think I listen to. I know of K-pop, but J-pop I don't know as well. So what's that? What's the difference? Like, what makes it Japanese pop besides the bass lines?
Well, Marty Friedman, who used to be a guitarist for Megadeth, he's actually got a video where he explains it, where it's more or less just like with American pop, it's pretty, it's kind of cut and paste, I would say. But with Japanese pop, they tend to have more intricate chord progressions, and they go on a journey with the song rather than repeating the same 4 chords over and over.
Over and over. Yeah.
So you'll have like these really intricate progressions, and then they just love to noodle all over it with the bass.
Noodle.
And
That's cool.
but so that's always been really influential to me. But then I started getting into K-pop actually too.
Okay.
Because I think their melodies and the production are like unparalleled. They put so much energy into it, and like I know it's manufactured and it's corporate, but I think
Good music is good music.
Good music is good music.
Yeah, and there's plenty that's manufactured and corporate that isn't good music, so
Right.
that doesn't rule anything out for me. Okay.
But I think K-pop, it's so melodic. Like the stuff I listen to, at least, there's a huge range of genres, but it's so melodic and it just sounds so good. So that's where a lot. So I feel like I kind of try to infuse my brain with as much K-pop as possible, so the melodies are always floating around and ingrained in my brain.
And now you know our
That's good.
secret sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and you also mentioned that some of the stuff that you were writing was more like sad emo kind of music. So is that also like a genre that you? I mean, obviously, I know some of the, Panic at the Disco, whatever. Like but I don't think of Paramore, as being sad emo in any way. So like, what other what kind of bands, or is that just the way that you write, but maybe not?
No, I kind of skipped over an era. I mean, I've been into so much different music in my life. But so pop punk was great in high school, but right after high school, I started discovering Midwest emo, which it's very noodly on the guitar, a lot of twinkly stuff, but it's all like sad sack shit. And I was really into it for a while. But I don't know, with my guitar writing, that's what really comes out. But it doesn't really fit this band. So I've lately, actually, since I've been in the band, I've been listening to a lot of the old 2000s pop punk, like Body Jar or Spitalfield, like even older than the stuff that came out when I was a teenager, or Senses Fail, The Used, and I've been listening to a lot of those lately to have more pop punk influence when I'm at practice or thinking about writing stuff.
So that's cool. But I love when I hear musicians who are in a very specific genre like you are right now, who have influences and interests musically that are so unlike what they're doing. And then yet it manages to inform at least some of what you're doing. And I think the fact that you are moving around so much on your bass lines, and the fact that you are coming up with more complex and intricate bass lines, it all of the things that you described to me, that's kind of a through line, right?
Yeah,
so
the end goal is just to be melodic as possible, whatever the means is to get there, or what the song is that I'm working on.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Okay. I'm glad you filled in that genre that you had skipped over there, because I was wondering if if that's what he's writing, he must have liked it at some point. So okay, so we've got Aerosmith, and we've got Blink-182, and we've got Japanese pop, K-pop, we've got minimalist emo, we've got pop punk, post punk. Adam, are you going to tell me it's all Britney Spears and
He's a jazz guy.
big
It's
big
funny.
clarinet solo, yeah.
I not to sound cliche when I say I listen to a little bit of everything, but some days, you could go from Frank Sinatra to Slipknot. It just.
And who among us hasn't done that? I mean, their collab is one of my favorite. Yeah.
But there was, growing up, I listened to a ton of Metallica, and there was an interview with Jason Newsted, one of the former bassists of Metallica. He
oh no, I know Jason Newsted.
he had mentioned that their quote unquote homework was to just listen to as much music as possible, as much different genres, and just take it all in and then filter it through you, and so you can take whatever this riff was a little bit inspired by System of a Down, this riff was a little more Blink, this was a little more whatever, as long as it can come through you and you can channel something, it's music, man. That's music at its
music,
purest.
So you will listen to anything. Is there anything you won't listen to?
Not really. I hate the cliche of people saying, "Oh, that's not music. This is music." Just because it's not your taste doesn't mean it's not music.
Right.
So I really try to listen to everything. I might lean a little less into country.
You can say pop country is garbage.
Yeah.
It's funny. Poor country. Like whenever people are like, if I'm gonna get an answer to a genre you might not listen to, so often it ends up being, well, I don't really like country, but I will say that I don't like country, and then I will sit there and just weep over Dolly Parton, or there is a lot of country that I like without realizing it. There's just a certain kind of country that doesn't seem to do much of anything for me.
Johnny Cash, that's my, I could sit and listen to Johnny Cash. If I had to listen to one artist for the rest of my life, it would probably be Johnny Cash.
And I could never do that.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash or just one artist or both?
Johnny Cash.
Okay.
See, I love it.
And I'm not saying all country's bad, because you throw on some 90s like Garth Brooks, Thunder Road or something like that, I'm down. That stuff's good. It makes you want to dance. It's got good
You want to
content.
know my weird esoteric, 90s, early 2000 thing that is like a secret pleasure of mine?
Yes.
Garth Brooks had a small but highly controlled and well-produced nervous breakdown where
Chris
he
Gaines?
decided to be Chris Gaines, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to be a pop star, right? So he had the
Chris
the
Angel.
emo hair. Yeah, he did look
Wow.
like Chris Angel. He had the eyeliner, and he had the black emo hair, and he had the little soul patch thing, and it was not what I would call panty peeler on any level visually, but he had this great song from that album. I want to say it was called Lost in You, but I might be wrong. It's a great song. And I'm sitting there, and it was when you, well, I was going to use an analogy that I probably shouldn't use, so I'm not going to say that, but when you're listening to something and you don't really know what you're listening to, but you like it anyway, it was that. And I was kind of all right, maybe I'll like other Garth Brooks. And then I went back to the Chris Gaines song because it didn't work out for me. But there is stuff, if you're open to listening to anything. Because again, I might sit there and go, I'm not really a country music fan. Dolly Parton's one of the best things that ever happened to the universe ever. And I don't know a single person that doesn't love Dolly Parton. And I think humanity would collectively yeet them off the planet if they found one. Everybody loves Dolly. So yeah, I think you're right to be open to stuff. I mean, every genre has at least one song that you're probably going to like, or even if it's not a whole song, there's going to be something about it that works for you, resonates with you, whatever. And I think a lot of musicians, because there are only so many notes, right? You can only put them in so many orders. You can only come up with so many grooves. There's only so much, but the more you listen to, the more creative resources you have to pull from, right? And so I think that's something that I think because you guys have It's on Uppers Down. Simple Bait. Okay. That's a more straightforward rock song to me. Me. You guys might not feel that way, but like I heard more rock elements. I mean, it's a little more chill. It's a little slower than a lot of the other stuff that you do. And it still sounds like a First Aid Spray song, but it's a different side of First Aid Spray, which is a weird sentence to have to form. But like it's there. I do hear other influences in what you do, even though you very distinctly are in a genre, you know? Right. So I'm wondering how much of that comes out of the fact, I mean, Justin is over here listening to a whole range of things that are really cool and not necessarily mainstream to what you guys are doing at all. And then Adam, you're listening to everything else. And then, you know, apparently Andy's just going to bust out at some point with like the weather from a podcast or whatever, you know, but I love that you guys have, cause I do talk to bands where everybody, like if I'm like, oh, what do you listen to? And everybody's like, Opeth, you know, or Cradle of Filth or whatever. And like, fine, you know, or, you know, I hear Metallica a lot, you know, like regardless of what genre people are in, you know, there are certain albums that I think are just sort of, musical canon. Right. But you guys have so much. I mean, Adam, you alone are just listening to everything. But the stuff that you're listening to is different from what Justin's listening to, and it's different from the influences that Andy had when he was younger. So I love that you're all bringing all of that, you know, and that it is showing up in your music, but it still sounds like your band. I think that's the best balance.
It's funny because I mean, if you listen to a certain band long enough, you can say, oh, they've got a pattern or they've got a formula or whatever.
They've got a style.
And, you know, I didn't want to be that. I didn't want, if you've heard one First Aid Spray song, you've heard them all. You know, I want to make sure that, not that they have to sound different, but just, you know, I like to think of it more as I'd rather go to a buffet than a steakhouse. You know, that I may love the steak, but at a buffet, there's something for everybody. There's, you know, it may not all appeal to everybody, but there's going to be at least one thing that you can pick out that identifies with you that you can resonate with.
First Aid Spray, we're the buffet of music.
There you go.
No, but I think too, though, that the genre that you're in, you know, punk in general, pop punk, it would be very easy to repeat yourselves from song to song to song because there are certain rules of punk, which sounds, you know, like an oxymoron because punk is supposed to be this sort of anarchic, you know, but it is, you know, you're generally going to be hearing driving guitar. You're going to be hearing, you know, very up tempo drums. You're going to be hearing usually fairly straightforward, repetitive bass, you know, just like that, like everything kind of pushing the song forward. And then, you know, vocals all the way up here, you might not be able to understand what they're saying. And again, and every time I describe punk, I think it sounds like I don't like it. I don't mean that. I'm just saying, like, it's, you know, it's like, oh yeah, you know, I think you should date my friend, you know, not very attractive, bad personality, breath is terrible, but I think you guys will really hit it off. Like, I don't mean it that way at all, but it's like, it's if I'm looking for nuance, I'm not usually going to pull out a punk album, right? You know, like I'm going to go to something else. And so I think being able to be different enough while still being true to what the band is within a specific genre, and then within the specific genre that you're in, is a lot harder than it sounds, you know? And it's why when I was listening through and I heard like Hear Me, you know, and I'm going, okay, like that one reminded me of oh God, it's the Big Papa Roach, My Life Into Last Resort. It reminds me of that. And I'm going, okay, so over here I was hearing, you know, Journey combined with Lump and Sum 41 and Blink 182. And then over here I was hearing the Verve Pipe. And then here I'm hearing, you know, Burn Pizza. I'm like, if you took Jumpin' Jack Flash and you put it on crack, like that's kind of how that sounds to me. It's just got like that for, you know, because of the riff and everything. And like you even those bands are not like each other, you know? And so, but it does all sound like a first aid spray song. And I don't know. I think I love that you guys are so genuine. And I could tell that if I turn off the camera, I'm going to have the same guys talking to me who are on camera, that you're the same guys that are in your reels. You know, you're the same guys that are on stage. This is not, I think that's something that in any kind of performance, it can be very easy to be on.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I
sure.
have a problem with on, because if you're always on, first of all, you're looking for the off button eventually, because you don't want anything to be
Right.
on all the time. But it can also come off as fake. And then if it's not genuine, it's like that uncanny valley of personality where you're like, I know I'm supposed to be having a good time, but I don't really like these guys, you know? And
Yeah.
one of the things that I noticed is just, I kept watching stuff and I'm like, is there going to be like a fourth wall that they break here where I'm going to be like, oh, okay. So when the cameras go off, it's like, you didn't hold my hand in the right way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and no, like you guys are just you know, and I think that that's part of why you are becoming even more successful. And I think you're going to continue to become more successful. And especially after people watch the show, right? They're all just going to go out and, you know, we're going to have to come up with, you know, merch and stuff like that. And just, you know,
We have some.
have little
on our
beards.
Spotify.
Yeah, you know, just,
Yeah,
well,
we'll
you got to
we'll
make
sell little
beards. You
beards.
do. You have to sell little beards on
Badger
strings,
beards.
you know. Yeah. And, you know, but like it's because everything that you're doing is you, and everything that you're doing is real. And the three of you are not like each other either. So, you know, it's like, we've got, you know, Justin is the quiet Beatle, right? And then like, you know, we've got, you know, Adam and Andy, you guys are a little bit more out there, but like it all works so well together. And I love that you guys you're what I was hoping you would be when I first saw what you were doing, you know, and then your music is what I was hoping it would be when I first started listening to it, you know, and that it all works together, and that you do know that you're listening to First Aid Spray, you know, like you put it on and it's like, okay, you know, nobody else is going to be writing songs about laundry and burnt pizza. And if they are, they're not going to be that funny or whatever. But then you have a song like Wonder Wife, which again, I know is still funny, but it's also lovely in its way, you know, that it's a little bit of a love letter, you know. And again, I think a little bit more rocked up as a song, or at least that's kind of how it came to me. And like that there's depth there, I think will keep people interested in your music, and that you are not just making the same song over and over and over and over again will keep
Right.
people interested. So I'm interested to see what comes next, you know, what the three of you, because now you've really worked together more closely, especially on, you know, this latest album that's out to be expected. And I don't know, this is a very long ramble, and like, I don't know if I even had a point, but I think I was trying to be complimentary and also just say that I am looking forward to whatever's next, even though I know we're going to, it sounds like, have to wait a little bit for stuff, because you guys
It
are
won't be too long.
on the
We'll get a
road.
new
You're going to be
single out
busy.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So, I don't know. I'm sad to end the show. Should we talk about something else?
Sure.
Adam, what do you want to say?
Check us out on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram. Heck, we're even on Reddit.
We are.
Facebook, First Aid Spray, at First Aid Spray. We've got merch. We've got shirts on our Spotify. If you want to check out our Spotify account, we've got t-shirts available there.
I have to get a t-shirt. I have to get a
Yeah.
First Aid Spray
It
shirt.
has this little spray can Sam guy on
Yep.
it. You
Yes.
can't go wrong.
Check us out. We make reels every day. If you don't want to listen to the music, there's a funny video that you might want to show your mom at some point.
We just did masturbation ones. Look out for those.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Maybe don't show those to your mom.
I did. My mom.
We
thought it was pretty
dedicated. She actually came out to a show, and we dedicated our song about masturbation to her. She loved it.
She
loved it.
She's such a peach. Sheila is
I
a gem.
suppose in a weird way, since she birthed you, that kind of technically comes full circle, pardon the pun, but
Oh,
yeah.
Sheila.
Okay.
Hey, if anything,
Your mileage may vary, people watching at home. You may or may not want to dedicate the masturbation song to your mom. I'm going to go with no. I have a feeling Greg is sitting over in his console just quietly screaming to himself because we're talking about those two things in the same place. But okay, so you're everywhere. You're everywhere. Your merch is available. Your music is everywhere. You've got live shows coming up. I'm assuming you're going to keep sharing dates and locations and all of that stuff on your social media. So anybody who's in the Michigan area can go and see the boys live in the flesh with maybe just a tube sock. Who knows? We don't even know where it'll be. Andy would probably wear it as a hat or a beard cover,
My beard sock.
I think that would be fantastic, actually, if you go out and you do a gig and you just have a tube sock over your beard. Think about the aesthetics of that, Andy. Just, a little bit. Just think about it a little bit.
We'll have to call you before our next show. Like, what ideas do you got?
Lay it on me.
I'm going to be like, glitter everywhere. Full body glitter and a
Glitter
beard
bombs.
tube sock. That's it.
Perfect.
That's my look for you. Or you do like the sprockets thing where you have to slick the hair back and slick the beard hair back and just wear like vinyl cat suits.
Okay, I'm into that.
Justin is about to throw something at me. He's like, shut up, they'll do it. Shut up. Justin on stage, just covered head to toe in glitter. Like, that's what I'm expecting to see. You guys, I have to ask this question. I have to. Because I can't imagine that you don't have a good answer for this, but do you have a super funny, super crazy, super weird story as a band, I know you haven't played out that much, but just over the years, anything that sticks with you guys where you're like, remember? Well,
I just think back to us early recording,
Mistakes were made.
Not to throw you at the dark, but Andy was at the time living in a trailer, and everything was so. It wasn't even half-assed. It was like a quarter-assed. It was, recording on our phones, thinking that was good quality, or writing a 2-note song, and just we'll kick ourselves because it's like, can you believe we made it this far? And we wrote a song that was 2 notes, or believe it or not, we wrote a song about being stuck in traffic and having to use the bathroom.
Wow, yeah.
And it's just,
just real life topics.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like your Hey Jude, just everyone's going to relate to that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just look back and I think of where we've been and where we are now. And, it's just the fact that we're on here doing a podcast, the thought that somebody would want to talk to us.
Yeah.
It's.
I don't want to talk to you. You guys offered me a huge amount of money to do this, remember? So, I mean, no. And what's fun too is that, because I'm posting the upcoming episodes, and I think yesterday or something I posted. Now, of course, it will have been a couple weeks by the time this airs, that you guys were going to be on the show, and people are excited, and I'm getting the same kinds of comments in relation to that. Like, these guys are hilarious. Their music is so much fun. I can't wait to see what they're like. And like, to me, that tells me that what you're doing, but what you guys are doing as a band, as a brand, I mean, it's bullshit that as musicians, we have to do that, right? Like, it should just be enough to make the music that we want to make, and then it finds its audience and everybody's happy. But that's not the world, right? So there has to be like a gimmick or a whatever. And like, some bands act like they're the new Beatles, the new Stones, the new Aerosmith, the new whatever. And that's their gimmick, is like massive amounts of unearned confidence. And it works for some people because it's kind of like, the old adage of like, well, if you undercharge for your work, people are going to think your work isn't very good. But if you charge exorbitant prices, they're going to think, oh, wow, this guy must be great. Why else would he be so expensive? So sometimes you fake it till you make it. You actually make it that way. You guys are not that band. Like, you guys are, you're not even brimming with earned confidence yet. So we're gonna have to work on that. But I mean, like, but when your brand is who you are, I think people are always gonna gravitate towards that, because one of the things that is not so common in music, in art, in life anymore is just being genuine. I mean, everybody's got a shtick, everybody's got a thing that they're doing, and you guys don't. This is just who you are. It just happens to be really funny and entertaining, and then you're also good musicians. And I think that's resonating with people. So when I am hearing like, oh wow, they're going to be on Vox and Guest, like, what's the date? Because I'm really, I think Freaky Things said, all of the episodes are good, but I'm really looking forward to the one with First Aid Spray, because I got to see what these guys. Yeah. Freaky is a big fan of the show. Hi, Freaky. We're talking about you. And a good musician, in his own right. And that's the impression that you guys are making. So you got to keep doing the reels. You got to keep, I'm sorry, Justin.
Yeah.
You got to keep doing the reels. You got to keep, and I do think you should be broadcasting, live streaming your shows, your stage shows, because, there is, there's an energy that you guys have that is the good kind of infectious, the one that doesn't require penicillin or whatever, but like, it's, you're fun to be around, and then the best thing about that is that then when you listen to the music's also good, because there are a lot of people who are really good people, and then when you listen to music, it's like, and I'm not saying anybody that, but like, I've heard that over the years, so I'm like, oh, this musician seems really nice, and they're auditioned for the band or whatever, and I'm like, they're really nice,
Right.
And so, I mean, it's, you're lucky that you have both. You have personality and you have talent, and both are on display. So I don't be surprised that people wanted to talk to you. And I don't think I'm going to be the last interviewer that wants to talk to you either. I'm sure there are going to be, especially after this comes out and they see the beauty and the professional news anchor level just preparation that's gone into this. And
a microphone, y'all.
I mean, really, look at that. For a very long time, I thought, because I don't have my glasses on, that was just a really fancy beer can, but it isn't. It's a mic. Look at that mic. It's beautiful. It's beautimous. Yeah, it's beautimous. So now I think you just got to keep doing what you're doing. But really, even if you don't live stream your show, will you send me a copy of something, or even just like a clip or something?
Absolutely.
I gotta see First Aid Spray on stage. I have to.
We keep most of it on stage, but some of it kind of spills off.
Yeah, we spill out a little bit, but
there's a lot of us, if you know what I mean.
All right, maybe a very long tube sock for the beard or whatever. But okay, so again, I'm sad to do it, but we end every show, as you know, with a little segment that I like to call In the Vox Seat. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. Okay.
Oh, we're good at trivia.
You're each going to answer them. Justin is I'm waiting for him to slowly slide under the table and just disappear. And I cannot even imagine what I'm in for asking you guys these questions, but let me start easy here.
Okay.
If you have to sum up First Aid Spray's music in 5 words or less, what would you each say?
We each say 5 words?
You do. You do. Otherwise, somebody would get 1 fewer word, and there would be dissent in the band and whatever. You each get 5. 5 or less. It doesn't have to be 5.
Okay. But if you did 5 words and then I did 5 more words and then Justin did 5 words, that's 15 words.
Okay.
Look at that. Justin, your math skills are rubbing off on Adam all of a sudden.
That's as far as I go. That's
I know. I was like,
one.
you guys said we're going to math, and look at this. It's like, we're up in the stratosphere math wise here. You each get 3 words, 5 words rather. All 3 of you get 5 words. You don't have to worry about the total. Yes.
Smart.
Number 1, math. Math. Now, actually, given that you guys are so spectacular at math, I'm going to have to keep you honest and count to 5 for you. So, okay. All right, here we go.
I'm thinking.
Okay, my second
Use your
one
fingers.
would be... Second one would be...
oh, you're sticking with smart. Okay.
Yep. Second one would be...
Are you sure, Andy? Are you sure you want to stick with... No, I'm kidding. Okay.
Yeah,
Smart.
energetic,
Definitely.
fun,
Oh, those are two of my words.
out there. That's 2 words, but
We can hyphenate it. We'll
out
hyphenate it
there.
out there.
And 5th one would be unexpected.
Okay. So not to be expected, it's unexpected. I
Unexpected.
like
There
it.
you go.
Okay. All right. Now, Justin, I'm going to go to you last so that you can replace your 2 words. We're going to go over to Adam.
Okay.
What do you got?
Oh,
5? 5 now,
man.
Adam. 5.
5 words.
That's
to
one hand,
describe-
okay?
5 words to describe first date spray.
Yes.
The first word, handsome.
Oh,
yes.
I mean, I almost feel like I shouldn't count that one because it's such a given, but okay,
Well,
yes. Absolutely.
obviously.
Greg, come get your girl.
Tall. Tan.
Justin's like, damn it, those are 3 of mine.
Dark and handsome.
Dark.
Greg ordinarily would not read this, but in the private chat, Greg just typed into the guys, I'm watching you. Okay, so handsome, tall, tan.
Sexy, right?
Sexy.
Is delusional the 5th? No, I'm kidding.
That's close to one of mine.
You know what?
We
That's a
keep
good
taking
one. I like
Justin's words.
delusional. Like, let's keep that one. That's a good one. That's my 5.
Okay. So handsome, tall, tan, sexy, delusional. Who among us has not dated at least one person who fits that description?
You
But
know
okay,
what?
that's
that might
fine.
be our new album.
That is. That is.
There you go. Hot and delusional, something like that. Okay,
Perfect.
Justin, they've used all the words.
All right. Well, I do have the biggest vocab, so it makes sense I went last.
Dude, to the very end.
He's bitter. I'm telling you.
Oh, God, he's hilarious.
I would say catchy, authentic, and then my synonym for delusional is ambitious. And I can't actually think of 2 more words. I've just got those 3, and I think I'm going to leave it with that.
Okay.
I'll finish his other 2. Amazing and honest.
Honest.
Okay.
Yeah, real. Raw.
Okay.
Big
A
Daddy
real and raw-
Cool Diesel.
Shit, these are I knew this was going to happen with math. I knew I gave you guys a number. we went from 13 to 17 to like 24, but all right. If we amortize it, it's 8 each, and then you guys have multiple personalities, so we're technically under the wire, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think all of those things, with the possible exception of delusional, actually do apply quite well. Okay. All right. So we've started off about as I thought we would on that. Okay. Your favorite thing, each of you, about being a musician?
I think my favorite part would be just one. That's a cardio. I'm telling you.
I tell you
love
what, because he will, for Burnt Pizza, he'll drum and sing. And, you know, I get tired just watching him. You know, that dude's just screaming at the top of his lungs, breaking us, you know, he's drenched in sweat. You know, now I start to think I should write more drum and bass heavy songs so I can just kind of fall back and just let them kind of do all the work. You know?
Start? He's been doing it.
I'm like, Adam, I hate to break it to you, buddy, but I get the impression. Okay, so basically you're just going to let Andy be moist and exhausted on stage, just glistening like a little god up there.
Yes.
And you're just
I like
going to
that.
sit back there, just aloof. You know,
My back
like-
hurts from carrying, but I do it.
Okay.
That's
So
what about
the cardio, that's your
I love
favorite
it.
part about being a musician. Okay.
Dude, playing those
I'm
drums,
gonna
man.
also
It's
translate
great.
that into things like being high energy, performance, stuff like that, or is it
Yeah.
just straight burning carbs? You're
It's
just
the energy.
I
I,
tell
love
you
it.
what, he has lost a ton of weight and he looks awesome now. He looks incredible.
I mean, I've always looked good.
Yeah, well, yeah, sorry.
handsome, tall, tan, sexy, delusional. No, but he does look okay. So there we go. Look at that. Look at that.
Take it.
So much sexiness. Okay, so I think I'm gonna absolutely guarantee that you are the first person to use cardio as the answer to that question, but I like it. I will take it. I almost feel like I should go to Justin so that Andy and Adam don't steal his answers first. So I'm assuming you're not going to say cardio. So
No.
I don't know what Adam was going to say, but what do you think, Justin? What's your favorite thing about being a musician?
For me, it's really the creative outlet aspect of it. Like, if I'm not doing music, I like editing in Photoshop. I'm always looking for something to do creatively. And when I'm playing a bass line or just anything musically, and it's like, I know I wrote it and I think it sounds great. I think that's really the best part, is when you come up with something and you're like, this achieves what I wanted to achieve.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah,
Very
ditto.
cool.
Yeah. It's so funny because like literally my answer was going to be like satisfaction, kind of along those same lines of finishing a song and then listening to it in its entirety and just saying, we did that shit. That's us. And nobody else did that. We did that. I very proud, very happy. Happy of what we've done, happy of what we're doing, happy with what we're going to do. Yeah, there you go.
That's good. No, and I think that too will build the confidence. The more you hear yourselves back and you feel like what you intended is what you accomplished, like there's no way that you can't get more confident in that. And I think you guys are you don't have the pom-poms you don't have the pom-poms or whatever for it, but you do cheerlead each other, I can tell. Not Justin. Justin is just sitting up there fucking knocking everybody down. But you two, Adam and Andy, you guys are cheerleading each other. Justin is just slowly throwing battery acid in your path.
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
all right.
Play just like that, but better next time. Be great.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, that was good except for all the parts that were horrible. Do it again. So that was your favorite thing. I don't even know where we're going to go with this, but the flip side question, what is your least favorite thing about being a musician?
Cardio. I think the worst part about being a musician, especially being the drummer, is tearing shit down. Hauling a drum set around is no fun situation ever.
You guys have it really hard. You really do.
Sucks.
I show up with my microphone and my tambourine, and
Yeah.
you're in there like, you need a Sherpa, whatever. You've got like a thing. Yeah, it's a lot. That the whole thing though, the load in, the setup, the breakdown, the load out, all of it. Or if you're using a house kit, and it's just like, like a Chinette plate on a stick, and then just some barrel with a hole in it for a kick drum. You just never know what you're getting into. So it's smart to bring your kit. But I completely, as a drummer, understand why you would say that. So okay, so in that way, it really is kind of cardio. So it is your least and most favorite thing.
Yeah.
Okay, who's going next?
Do you want to?
Sure. I would say, what was it? My least favorite thing?
Yeah.
It's really, I would say, balancing like how much time and work it is with everything else in life, because you really only have so much time to achieve so much. And while it is fun, it is also a huge time investment. And I think balancing that with, hobbies, work, for these guys, marriage or kids, I think that is probably the hardest part.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that balance is a big thing. That's a frequent answer to it, is just striking that life work balance, and it's a lot of work. If you're doing it right, it's a lot of work. Even if it's great, it's still work. So, all right, Adam,
it's a fun job, but it's still a job.
Yeah.
It is. It's true.
Least favorite thing. Okay, gonna get real for a second. I will say the self-doubt of, this is, a pure form of expression. Is what I'm doing really what I want to do? Is this really the sound that I want to make? Is this the message that I want to do? And, to go a little deeper, anxiety and depression, some days you just want to bury your head in the sand and just be completely invisible. And when you're in a band and you're up on stage and you're like, nope, I gotta be the light bulb in the room, and if I'm not on, then the room is just gonna be dark. And but I've found that I try to take that, but try to be the positive spin on it of, this is what I want to do. This is me. This is us. This is First Aid Spray. This is the message we want to send. This is the content we want to make. This is us.
Yeah.
And just try to make every negative into a positive.
I love that. And I love how you say to get real for a second, as if you have not been real for the last couple of hours. But no, I mean, that's another common answer on this show, that I can't tell you how many people say, you're your own worst critic, or the self-doubt, or the insecurity, or the feeling of, is it going to be good enough, or people are going to like it, or I like it, but then I put it out into the world and nobody listens to it. And that makes me think maybe it isn't good enough, because if it were, people would be liking it more, or streaming it more, or whatevering it more. And it is so hard to be vulnerable, period. And to whatever kind of music you're making, anything that you're creating, if it's music, if it's fine art, if it's, literature, if it's whatever, you are generally putting yourself out into the world, and people can just shit all over that. And it is terrifying.
Nobody's ever said anything bad about us.
Well, no. How
right.
except for Justin, but he's in the band. So the call is coming from inside the house there. But I mean, but it is really just to do that anyway. And then for people like so many of us, musicians, artists who do struggle with mental health issues like anxiety, depression, whatever, it's even more difficult, because what's great about, the music industry, such as it is now, but relative to where it was, 20, 30 years ago, is that anybody could put themselves out there, right? Yeah. Like, you don't have to be signed. You have to. But the double-edged sword there is that you also have these troglodytes on YouTube and whatever who are going to go on me like, you suck, man, or whatever. Like, I mean, I was just, looking, researching for an upcoming band, and went on their YouTube, and they're very popular. And somebody was like, oh, this sucks. It's not like your old stuff. And I was like, Jesus, could people just calm the fuck down for 5 minutes? Like, it's fine to be a keyboard warrior. You can be a big man when you're sitting in your mom's basement eating like Fritos or whatever, and like not doing anything. Being a critic is easy. Being an artist is hard. So I'm with you. Like, I cannot tell you how many people I've interviewed who've said very similar things, Adam, about just like.
I will also say I was my harshest critic.
Now it's Justin, right? Yeah.
And then we got Justin in the band. So
look at you, Justin, lighting up a room and leaving. Look, that is the most bright side thing to a dark statement I've ever heard. I used to be my own worst critic. Now Justin does it for me. Okay, I love it. Your next album will have to be like My Own Worst Critic, and it's just a picture of Justin on it. Okay, so I think you guys all answered that, right? It was the cardio and the self-doubt and the work-life balance. So, all right. This one, people usually hate me for, but I have the feeling at least Adam will have an answer for it pretty quickly based on something we've already said. If you guys only got to listen to one album for the rest of your lives, just one, what would it be and why? I've broken Justin. Look at him.
Digging deep in the archives.
I'm going to go with not Johnny Cash for you, right, Justin? Definitely not Johnny Cash. So yeah, just one.
I'm going to say the Distillers' Sing Sing Death House. That's my album. I only have one.
Look at you. Just bam. Just out with it.
For me, it would be Carving Desert Canyons from Scale to Summit. They are an instrumental melodic metal band where it's metal, but they're actually super melodic, and it's not a lot of like beat down and heavy, grungy, atonal stuff. Okay. And I think what really appeals to me about it is I could never get sick of the words. All I'm hearing is guitars. And so I think that would be one, if I really had to, that would be the album.
That makes me think of, because I will have to go, I have so much homework from this show that bands will, give me names and I'm like, I never listened to them. I've never heard of them, whatever. But it makes me think, if you don't already know, Justin, Death Pigeon, These are things I say now.
I know Death
You know,
Pigeons.
it's like, okay, to my kids, like, okay, hurry up, you know, mommy has to get home and talk to Death Pigeon. Like, these are things I say now, but
That's got to be such a cool life.
it does not suck. I'll tell you that right now. It's exhausting, but it's amazing. Like all of you guys in this community are just like, you make it so worth it. But JD from Death Pigeon and Neil have an album called Volume 2, The Rewiring of Humanity. And they just came out with an orchestral instrumental version of it. And I think you might really dig it based on how you just described the album that you would pick. So my little Pidgey plug there. But I think...
yeah, I'm writing it down.
First album, Volume 1, was covers, but also instrumentals. So it might be a little bit of a different vibe because it's covers. But I think you might like that for the same reason. It's metal, but no lyrics to get tired of. Although the original album with the lyrics is pretty great too. It's based on a short story he wrote, which is really intense.
I'm
that
definitely
you might
gonna check it out.
Yeah, if you like dark stuff, you should try that. But okay, so all right, so I have more homework to just say it again for me.
Carving Desert Canyons by Scale the Summit. The other part of it is like it's metal, but it's mostly in major keys instead of minor keys. So I think that's something that really sets it apart.
Yeah, okay, so it's instrumental metal, but you said melodic, atmospheric, in major
melodic,
key. Wow,
major
okay,
key, yeah.
All right, I'm very curious. I'm very curious about that, and I love that that's your answer when you also enjoy and listen to Japanese pop and K-pop. I love that. You are a savage individual, but you are a very interesting dude, Justin. I appreciate it. So, all right.
One more thing.
Yeah.
That very first song on that album is called Bloom, and Chris Ledford is the main songwriter. And they've got like 6 albums out now, but he's still, at last I knew, says Bloom. That first song on that album is like the pinnacle of what he always wanted to achieve songwriting. Oh, wow. And that's definitely like, I definitely feel like I hear it when I listen to that one.
Wow. Okay. So I will start with Bloom then. Okay. Oh, wow. All right. I'm still putting all those things together. I'm just imagining what metal in major keys would sound like. So it could either be really interesting or deeply unquieting or both, which is also interesting. But all right, Adam, you've had time. They vamped for you. Is it Johnny Cash? Is it Johnny Cash?
Haven't come up with anything. Pee-wee's
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the Pee-wee's Playhouse soundtrack.
Chipmunk Punk, yeah.
I think it might have to be. It might have to be his American Ford. That's got his cover of Hurt.
So it is Johnny Cash.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. There's just some about the simplicity of every song is just him, an acoustic guitar, and a piano, and it's just that simple. And just every song sounds different, even though it's the same instruments, and his delivery and just that's one of those artists for me that just could do no wrong, you know?
Oh, but he did.
Yeah.
musically could maybe do no wrong, but I mean, so yeah, because Hurt is a 9 Inch Nails cover, right? That's the I remember when that came out, and at first I was like, what the fuck is this? And then because I mean, it's not like the original is lighthearted in any way, but there was something about the way and it could have been largely down to the arrangement and just the timbre of his voice, but it really was depressing, man. That Hurt. That really did sort of like, it did hurt to listen to. Okay, so Johnny, I thought maybe, because you said something like, if I could only listen to one, musician for the rest of my life, so I figured it might be a Cash album. But okay, look at the differences at that anchor table there in your one album. That's very impressive. Okay, this is it, guys. This is the last question. It is the most thought-provoking, raw, intensely emotional, personal, revealing of all the questions. And we've gone pretty deep today. We've talked about, badger beards and tube socks and cardio and mom hearing about things she should never, ever have to think about her baby doing. And here we are at your toilet paper roll. Does it go on the holder, if it does, with the paper over the top or under the bottom, and why? And if you guys need to cry or
Over.
whatever, you know, feel free to take
Don't
it.
If it's anything but over, we're fighting.
If it's under, ew, get out of here, peasant. Gross.
I dated a girl once, and I went to her bathroom, and it was under, and I climbed out the window and never saw her again.
Well, Sheila, now you know what happened to Adam. I don't know who she is, but there you go. He's just
Sheila's
gone.
his mom.
Oh my God. God, Sheila. Sheila's had enough
Sheila.
trauma for tonight. How funny is that? Watch now.
Sheila
The
never
next game.
catches a break.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you are a viciously, just vehemently over guy. Okay.
I'm not one to get very political, but yes, I am a over
Okay.
rather than under.
Okay.
So, for
And I heard the
me,
word peasant coming from Adam. Okay. I mean, from Andy. So, okay. Justin, the
I
scholar.
remember when I first heard this argument, and I was like, it matters. But now I do it over just because I don't want to hear any flack from anyone.
Justin's like, I don't use toilet paper.
Actually,
I'm a
do.
bidet bitch.
I do use a bidet though because I prioritize having a sanitary dumper. So
He's got a nice dumper.
There's another album title.
He's got a nice dumper.
This one's
Like
for
the
you,
next
Dad.
4 albums. That's right. That's right. It's the bathroom cardio that you have the. Okay. So
Bathroom
you
cardio.
did not have a strong feeling, and then you were just basically punished into one by trying to avoid drama, overdoing it the wrong way. Okay.
because the people that think that it should go over are very aggressive, as you've seen, and I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
I got news for you, dude. The people who think that it goes under are equally vehement and also super defensive because they seem to be in the drastic minority. So,
I'm sure.
Also
okay.
super
So,
wrong.
Andy, I think I know because I heard the word peasant come out of your mouth in relationship to under, but I think I know. But go ahead and lay it on me. Your reasoning for.
Oh. I mean, who wants to be on the bottom when you can be on the top? You know what I mean?
Enough said.
Heyo.
So, yeah.
Roll Tide.
Over top, all the way.
All right. I'm not going to answer that question. I could, but I won't. But yeah, but okay, so we have 2 strong overs and then 1 I don't want to deal with it, so I'll go along with over. Okay. I thought,
Which is-
Justin, you might be the guy that pulled out the patent says that it goes over
Actually.
because you seem
Which
like a
is-
technician, so I thought that might be it, but you don't even care.
We'll have to look that up so I can bring it out in future arguments.
There you go.
That's
Actually,
that's such a Justin way of. That's just been him with this entire band of just. I'll do whatever they're doing. It's fine.
Yeah.
Justin is an enabler of the two
I
of
mean,
you.
Can you imagine trying to compete with these two? What choice do I have but to try and fill in after they're done?
I think the next album title should just be Relentless Sunshine, because I think that is Adam and Andy in a nutshell. And then you just Relentless Sunshine and the Beaten Down Cloud. That's it. It fits with like the Spray Can Sam and the Aerosol Symphony. It's the same kind of cadence to the title. So okay, so we have a band full agreement, largely because Justin is just trying to avoid any sort of potential drama. And does not want to be beaten down like the honey badger that we began this journey with. So, you guys, you were a huge disappointment. This was like such a serious, no, I'm kidding. This is
Not the
everything
first
that
time
I
I've
thought
heard
this
that.
interview was going to be. I'm trying to compete with Justin for worst critic, of the band now, but right in the last, just in the clutch moments here, but you guys are great. I love that this was, as fun and as funny as I thought it was going to be, but you did not come out super over the top. We had to have a real conversation and get all the details. And I'm so happy for you that you are blowing up the way that you are. It's very well deserved. You're clearly putting in the work musically, social media wise, everything. I'm very happy to see what comes out of this live session on Monday, that we will all have either already seen or will be immediately going to the First Aid Spray social media juggernaut to look up once this interview is done, for those who haven't seen it yet. Go look up To Be Expected. They are everywhere. Like if there's a platform, there's just like a piece of wood on some Stix out there that's a platform, and they've probably got an album just sitting
We
on
got a
that on
video
a
on
beach
We
somewhere.
spray painted it. If anything
That's
else,
it.
we'll spray
They're
paint our
just
logo on it.
they're everywhere. They are everywhere. They're on platform shoes. They're everywhere. So just look them up, follow them, like, subscribe. I don't even know what people do on some of these platforms, but just whatever it is, do it. Go find them, go support them, and go listen to them, because their music is a shit ton of fun, and the guys are just as great as the music. So thank the three of you.
Thank you.
Even you, Justin,
Thank you.
who may have been dragged into this kicking and screaming. Thank you,
A little bit.
Adam and Andy and Justin, for joining me, chatting with me, showing me what life can be like in an idyllic world.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
for having us.
Thank
we're
you.
we're so
Yeah,
honored
I
to
want
be here. Thank you.
to say thank you. Like, we're extremely grateful for how much interest you've showed in actually listening to the songs and having feedback on them. It's very
Oh, no, my
Very good
The amount
pleasure.
of research you've done, like you
Yeah.
said, a lot of people we talked to was just like, "Hey, I saw you post stuff."
I like your trivia video.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's well, they're not wrong, but no, I mean, it's a treat for me, and one of the things that I enjoy so much about it is like being able to connect musicians who might not otherwise cross that way. And if I didn't know everybody's music, there'd be less of a way for me to be able to do that. So plus it is just fun for me to get to hear what you guys do. And I think that, so often I listen to prep for these interviews and I'm like, why are, like, what makes the people who get on the radio, what makes the people who get record deals get them when there's so much good music that I'm hearing that is completely unsigned and nobody knows and they're totally underground? And you guys absolutely fit into that category, because it would not be weird at all for me to turn on Sirius or whatever and hear a First Aid Spray song.
Yeah.
Like,
Please.
and especially I'm gonna suggest Sirius start with Left to Give. Put that one out there first. There's nobody who's gonna complain if that's on your radio station. So thank you for what you said. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys, and I can't wait to watch the insane trajectory I think is heading your way now that you've got all your tech hooked up and Justin is keeping you two in line. So
Yeah.
all right, guys, thank you so much for watching Vox and Guest and listening if you're on Spotify, and we will see you next time. Say bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Mom.
Sheila. Bye, Sheila.